First time last weekend, 2 half miles, and now at the first mile as we move to the Magic Mile. Mission Super Twins are rolling on the racetrack right now. They come out according to their point standings, and we'll see who's comfortable and who's not comfortable right off the bat.
DuQuoin's an interesting racetrack to come out, especially in this first session, because you don't know where to ride, and typically on these twins you want to go up towards the wall, but you don't know what the track is, if it's going to be dusty, if it's going to have a lot of grip, slick, or whatnot, and you just keep going up and up the racetrack. And although it's extremely wide, eventually something does come up.
Yeah. Yesterday we were running on the bottom of the racetrack in the corners. That was the amateur day, part of the Roof Systems 2025 AMA Flat Track Grand Championships. Today we're expecting the line to go up the racetrack a little bit, especially with the twins. We might see the empty singles on the bottom of the racetrack, but there you go. Breyer's already up, you know, maybe 3/4 of the way up in that corner, 1 and 2.
Yeah. This was my least, I raced here in 23, and this was my absolute least favorite session of the entire year, I think.
Why?
Just because at least at that point it was really skittery, kind of dusty getting off to the corner, and I wasn't comfortable on the bike at that point, and just the way that I was throwing it off in there, it's just, you're sliding so much, and I was just so nervous about not being able to get it turned before the wall came up.
Were you trying to follow somebody? Were you trying to gap and go out there by yourself? What was your strategy?
I tried everything, nothing worked.
Didn't matter.
No, in this first one, typically always, I'd like to be out there a little bit more by myself, or maybe with just one other person, because I want to be able to, you can't hear the motorcycle when you're even really by yourself. You can kind of hear it and you can feel it. When you get more experienced, you can feel when the bike's on the rev limiter and starting to stop the pulling forward. But when you get in the draft, then the gearing's obviously different.
Are the twins shifting today? You think they'll put it in going home gear and leave it there?
I don't think they're shifting. I wouldn't.
You'd be shifting a single, though, but not a twin.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think some of them. I think Meese did a little bit of shifting there for a while, but I don't know many of these twins. Like Dallas obviously didn't click one down right there, and I don't know many of these twin guys that can do it or need to do it.
Breyer just went really high right there, and 1-2 caught him a glimpse out of my eye, but the 32 is right there in the 2 spot on the racetrack, and Brandon Robinson right behind. It looks like Breyer's going way on the inside of the back straightaway. What is he doing?
I don't know.
I don't either.
I don't know if he doesn't. I mean, it's really hot. Oh, he wanted to get in line. Okay. Yeah, because I was going to say, typically you pull to the inside like that if your bike's not working. But when he stayed in that draft, 1, he might have been trying to be a little jokester. And 2, he wanted to get behind these guys and see what draft.
Trying to joker lane?
Yeah, it's miserable being out there by yourself, especially leading like that. And just because the straightaways are so long.
So he hops in behind his fellow Harley Davidson. They're not teammates, but they're both on Harley Davidson XGs. Down the back chute, the 32 of Dallas Daniels on the 32 Yamaha. Brandon Robinson's on the 44. And the 3 of Breyer Bauman. Again, Yamaha, Harley Davidson. Just get some laps in. Now Breyer really pulls out of the way, and maybe he wants some clean racetrack to himself again. So he wanted to see what they were shaking up to be riding. Now he goes back to it on the 3 bike. Now he's looking over his shoulder still, so maybe he's just not comfortable yet.
I think Breyer wants the session to be over with, but here at DuQuoin Mile, you can't pull off the track early. Yeah, you can see he's just checked out. Whether it's the bike's just the setup so far off gearing-wise and you don't want to burn the motor up, just hitting the limiter really hard. But you can't pull off the track here because you exit off of turn 4, so you're stuck on the inside of this whole session. So you might as well just keep the bike circulating, keep the air moving through the radiator rather than shut it off.
There he is way on. Oh, no, that's 3. That's somebody else is taking the joker lane down the back straightaway. So again, they've hit outside of turn number 4 and kind of behind the grandstands a little bit. So that will be the pit area, and they'll enter and exit the racetrack off of turn number 4 if you folks have never been here or never seen the DuQuoin Mile. There's Breyer. James Ott on the 19, 48 is Trent Lowe. White flag is out. Side by side over here, the Honda and a Yamaha get by the 3 bike. Again, 3 looks like he's slowed down. There's Maxwell. Man, he had an impressive weekend last weekend in Lime on that Royal Enfield.
Yeah, he did. He had a good run at it, and we talked briefly about how Johnny had a really good run there, and maybe it's just one of the facilities that bike worked well at, but this is his rookie season in the class, so maybe we're at the halfway mark today. You know, today marks the 8th round, right, of 16, so maybe he's just coming into his own there.
And he's battling actually with James Ott and Trent Lowe for Rookie of the Year. We talked about that in our production meeting. They're sitting right there. It looks like 6th, 7th, and 8th in the point standings.
Yeah, and then right there we see the 20, Vanderkoy sitting off on the inside. That's who that was. Davis Fisher sitting up out of it. A lot of these guys just, I mean, the feeling might be mutual. It's not the most fun first session, at least. It's just kind of skittery.
Just until you kind of brushed it off a little bit?
Get some rubber down and more moisture into it.
Do you think it's every group in every class, or you think it's just that very first group?
Probably every group, yeah.
Really?
Obviously, you know, the clay takes more and more dirt as the day goes on, but a lot of guys, they're either unsettled with the racetrack or bikes having a little bit of issues.
So the 3 bikes slow down. Davis Fisher sitting side saddle on his motorcycle. I've seen JD Beach do that over there at the Super Prestigio, but he's trying to get away from that right side where it's hot, I believe.
Yeah, he's got a different pipe this week, so he has a down pipe on now, so he's not. The pipes would. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on.
The pipe was going out the right side, it looked like. So, yeah, he's sitting side saddle on the motorcycle. Do you remember JD Beach doing that over in Barcelona?
I can't believe he did that at such high speed.
That was so cool. The other side of the truck's already chiming in. Man, it's too early for that. That was Mission Super Twins' first group. And now the times have popped up. Best lap was Briar Bauman. Must have been early on, 3:07.279. Dallas Daniels second, 3:07.329. Brandon Robinson third. Trent Lowe is fourth. James Ott, Davis Fisher, Dan Bromley, Max Whale, and Jared Vandekoy. The times just populated. Here comes group number 2 of our Mission Super Twins.
They're close. Those top 5 are pretty close for all kind of being by themselves out there. James and Trent working together, and both within about half of 100th.
Do you work with anybody? Do you go find some? Oh, there goes the 79 Dalton Gauthier out here in the Twins class. I didn't see that.
And we got the 37 of Bronson Bauman making a return too, bringing another Harley Davidson into the field. So we'll have 3 XGs racing here today.
Okay, I saw on the sign-up sheet he was listed on the Yamaha, but it's good that he's on the orange and black.
Things change up, right?
Yep. Built in Brad Jones's garage, what I just heard.
The way it was sounding this morning, it's not going to be long before Brad Jones comes out with a team.
It's happening pretty soon. A team,
we're not sure
a challenge race,
yet.
A team and a challenge race, and
a series.
Exactly. The new CFO, Chief Fun Officer, Brad Jones. You like that?
I do.
Chief Fun Officer. He's not even listening to us anymore. There's Bronson Bauman, the 37 bike.
Bronson's got that thing clogged into one there.
Bronson's actually on Jim Torchilla's XG750. Just got that note coming in, hot off the press via text message.
Yeah, it's cool that Jim was able to step up and help supply Bronson with that bike. It was for sale, and it was very generous of him to be able to put, you know, that motorcycle out here on the racetrack. Bronson was going to ride some Yamahas from a local guy in the Peoria area, just ran out of time a little bit in getting those things prepped and ready, so hopefully we'll see them out later this year. But that's the kind of pit area they have to be able to get people stepping up at the same time.
Here's a new rider looking pretty strong last weekend. Got a 4th on day number 2. Declan Benner on the OTB Racing Yamaha. Declan got the ride when Brandon Price stepped away. Yeah, good spot. I mean, that seat's open. Somebody got a hold of it.
That bike today is something that I would love to be on, a J&M 750. We saw how strong it was out there last season.
I just saw the 14 pushing his motorcycle. They left Pennsylvania at 3 p.m. yesterday afternoon. They had that bike torn way down, and he's already pushing it back to the pit area. That's not good news for the 14 of Logan McGrain. Plus, he's already used his provisional, so he's going to have to get that fixed before qualifying. Another rider making their way back here is the 160 of Nick Armstrong. He's on the track. There's a 25 pushing it back the other direction, Ben Lau. So again, Miles, you're on the throttle almost all the way around, Colby.
It's so hard on the motorcycle typically because you're at such a high RPM for such a long time. You're putting so much strain on the engine, but it is 94 degrees out right now. It's so hot for these bikes. The riders, they're still fresh at this point, but in those leathers, it's probably, I don't know, 100 and something it feels like, but the bikes, they're just getting so hot.
And there goes the 79 Dalton Gauthier. The 96 Cody Johncock's good to see him back at the racetrack as well. So
yeah, and the Gauthier up inside the top 10 right now, and he's familiar with that motorcycle. I remember racing against Dalton in that specific bike back at the Oklahoma City Mile, and that would have been 2015.
You act like it's so long ago. That's only
10 years ago, Scotty.
Is that the Racing Unlimited bike?
Yeah, it is the Racing Unlimited. And
Bronson's already parked his 37 in the infield, and
that is a lot of motorcycles, Scotty.
This track's tough on equipment.
I'm hoping, let's just hope that everyone's pulling off because they're gearing so far off, because that's a real situation, right? If you're hitting your rev limiter way before the corner, there is no point in just riding the bike to get more laps in, because you see some black rubber starting to go down there in the back straightaway. But just pull off, save the bike.
So you're saying if they're in high gear already and they're tapped out halfway down the straightaway, you might as well pull off. Is that
absolutely? Yeah.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah, there's just no point in beating up on the motorcycle and your body. You know, pull off, unzip your leathers a little bit, and get some time for the bike to relax. But and the racetrack's just so far out. What we're going to have later today, really, everyone's just out here to try to run in the racetrack.
Absolutely. Dalton Gauthier on the racetrack is up to 9th on the 79 bike, 3:8.219, his best lap. Quick time in this first session is Breyer with a 3:7.279.
You writing it down?
I'm writing it down right now. There's a lap or two left. I think we're safe.
It's good to see the 96 Cody Johncock's guy that I grew up with. Talked with him this morning, just picking and choosing. He broke his collarbone 5 weeks ago, and he said, we were talking about how we're getting older. He said, yeah, I don't quite heal up as good as I used to. He was motocrossing and had a little incident.
Get off, yeah. Checkered flag is out. Group number 2, Mission Super Twins. Again, 2 groups, 18 riders. Only 16 will make the main event today. Up next will be the first group of our AFT singles class. These guys on their cool down lap right now. Again, they exit and enter the racetrack outside turn number 4. Round number 8, Progressive American Flat Track, our first mile of the season right here at the Magic Mile in DuQuoin. Coasting it in. Fastest on the track was a 79. Declan Benner gets up to 11th. Justin Jones is 12th. Cody Johncock was out there on the 96. He is 13th. Logan Eisenhardt 14th. Nick Armstrong 15th. Ben Lau pulled off. Logan McGrain didn't even get a full lap in. And Bronson Bauman also. No times are recorded for either one of those two. Hopefully they get them fixed at least before qualifying. Go make some changes, right?
Yeah, just try to get it running right, get everything shaken down. Luckily, one more free practice to have another shakedown run at it. The track, you can start to see that rubber laying down, but very intermittent through the corner.
I think it's especially like right there coming off the corner. That's where the amateur riders were at yesterday. In the line that they're running right now is a little bit higher than the amateurs were riding in the corner. Yeah. So I think it'll take some rubber, but it'll take a little bit longer.
And all these guys end up pretty much coming off the corner in the same spot. You'll see guys a little bit lower and higher through the corner, but everyone kind of shakes up coming off that same spot. Singles guys all kind of trying to figure out where they want to go, bunched up into one there and in a line, a lot of them right now.
Trevor Bruner leading the way on the Turner Honda number 21. 59 is Tom Drane, 88 Chase Sadoff, 75 Terrence Santero, 228 Cage Tapman, 26 Aiden Rusev is right down the street. He's a Southern Illinois guy. 65 is Renshaw, 83 is Fanders, and the 63 Jared Lowe. That's the Jet.
Right there, let's talk about it. Cage Tapman, you knew what kind of mile experience he has coming into this.
So he actually raced here a couple of years ago as an amateur on a 250. He's also raced on the 450 at the Sacramento Mile one time. So he's raced on the mile basically twice. And he does have a backup bike today. Borrowed a motorcycle from Dalton Gauthier is what we're hearing. We'll be on the walk through the pits up to what we found out earlier today.
Yeah. Tom Drane elected let a lot of riders go by him off the start here. And that's one thing that was cool for me is I, at points, would go out early on in my championship run at it in the next year. I try to go out in the front. It's a terrible idea because you have no one to draft with. And in these singles, you are not going to fast qualify by yourself. You have to run with people. So sometimes going out like deeper in the field, say 6, you've got a lot of people to pick your way through.
So even in practice, you want to do the same thing?
I don't.
Get into a habit?
No, I like to be out by myself a little bit just to check gearing because you'll get your gearing pretty much set up for yourself and then maybe drop a tooth just so you've got a little bit more to get out through the draft. Because you'll pull out of the draft here. If you've got a good run at it, you're going 10, 15 mile an hour faster than you would be by yourself. So you're going to hit rev limiter and you're not finishing that pass.
Just a second ago, the 88 was right up there beside the 21, actually led for just a little bit. Now he's dropped back to 3rd. Santero has moved up to 2nd on the racetrack.
Yeah, it's good to see the 21 out front right now. He had some difficulties in Lima last weekend. He had good, amazing speed at times. He was really the only guy that could go toe-to-toe with Tom Drane at different points. Chase had some good runs in there, but it looked like Trevor Bruner. He was the only one to win one of those main events, but bike difficulties took him out of it. Such a different racetrack. When you used to look at it from up above, it actually looked like 4
different corners, but now it's kind of like your big arcing corner, go up high, kind of squared off and diamond it off. As a 75 goes to the lead.
You know what would be cool? They used to do that lap around Springfield where you could pay, you could donate money and do the lap. This would be a spectacular place to do it because you cannot tell from the TV how weird of a shape this racetrack is, especially in 1 and 2. There is seriously a straightaway through the corner.
Like a short shape.
Yeah, exactly. And if you rode around the bottom, all these guys are riding up, so they're able to make better arcs of it. But if you were to ride all around the rail, you seriously would have your bike straight up and down and then turn again.
Yeah, we'll have to get some footage from that a little bit later on when the drone gets up in the Air Force to see what exactly you're talking about, Colby. But it is kind of like 4 separate corners.
And the 75, cool about him, he also had bike difficulties in Lima last week. He spent the entire week rebuilding those engines, and he does it himself. He doesn't have a mechanic that rebuilds his engine. That is a Terrence Santero built engine. So cool to see. And then, man, it could give you a sense of confidence, too, knowing.
He just pulled up, put his hand up in the air. Right away.
Should I finish my thought? Or?
Yeah, I mean, it is a cool thought. If it's working.
All right, well, so let me finish this. So it's cool because you know you can at least trust what you did, and you know that everything's tight and everything was right. Who knows what happened there, but there's at least a little bit of confidence. Man, was that an announcer's curse? Was that my first one?
It just happens. It just happens. Maybe. I mean, I'm not going to tell Taryn you said that, but no, I mean, unfortunately, some mechanicals do happen. And
the thing was running.
Santero was flying. Yeah, I had him on my podcast after he won the race down there in Texas, an outlaw race, and he told me that he was the one building everything. So this is going into 3. Watch the second place rider right there. He just sits straight up immediately, pulls on the clutch.
Oh, yeah, you see the smoke coming out. Bomber deal, man.
So he'll have to go get his backup bike
out. The ghost. Oh, that stinks, man. Taryn's such a good kid.
I'm not going to tell him what you said.
You know what? Now that we've seen the smoke, they go before they blow.
They go the best they ever do before they let go. That's right.
Oh, man. Well, let's hope the second bike's just as good because he was ripping, able to get to the lead of that one past the 21 of Trevor Bruner.
Talk about the 75. Terrence Santero was up there looking for that lead spot. Unfortunately, that bike let go. Going into turn 3, pulled into clutch and coasted to a stop. There goes Renshaw off the racetrack. Just watch his hands right here. Say, boof. Yep, he knew it.
International symbol.
He said,
yeah,
go get the other
bike.
Go get the other bike. Yep. Put some gas in it, make sure it's ready to go. I'm sure it's already gassed up and ready, but man, it's never good to go to the backup bike in your second session.
A lot of the backup bikes, surprisingly, aren't quite as ready as you would think. Because sometimes, especially in the singles class, you're robbing Peter to pay Paul, right?
Well, I remember when Cody Kopp broke, they took the chain off the primary bike and ran it through the backup chain on the primary bike. So they had to have the gearing set up and everything identical.
Yeah. That's a cool feeling when your team's able to do that. On the smaller teams, a lot of the times your mechanics won't be changing gearing on the backup bike.
Well, especially because like when I was racing, we had one stack of teeth. So you had a sprocket that was pretty close on the back of one of them, but on the other one you had one. So they're not going to be identical no matter what. For me, I mean, bigger teams can probably have 2 stacks of gearing or 3.
Were they wood sprockets back in your day?
Yes, and we had wooden wheels too.
Square or round yet?
Open face helmets, no goggles because we're tough.
Oh, it's good to be back in here with you, Scotty.
If we're not having fun, we're not supposed to be here, right? That was group number 1. Up next will be group number 2 of your singles. Fast time just popped up for us. Tom Drane, 3:8.0. He's 4/10 faster than Chase Sadoff, and Drane was back there in the middle of the pack.
Yeah, you'd have to think that was when he was getting by. He started probably in 7th or 8th, and he passed someone. I would have to think it was at that point, man, if he did that one by himself.
Santero's up to 3rd before the bike broke. Chase Sadoff was 2nd, 3:8.485. Bruner's 4th. Braden Fanders 5th. Roos Evans is 6th. Cage Tadman 7th, the rookie. And Jared Lowe is 8th. And Evan Renshaw 9th. And Renshaw was the first one off the racetrack. Oh, they're pushing Jared Lowe's bike back.
That is so fast. A 38.025 to start the day off for Tom Drane.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty, well, not too far off of the twins. 37.2. Here comes group number 2. Finally, the 24 is Hunter Bauer from Canada. The 15, Justin Anselmi from Lodi, California. 31, Evan Keller from the East Coast. Tyler Raggio lives in Effingham, Illinois. Now it's from California. 49, Chad Coast. Looks like he's trying to be the Wheelie King. 100, Walker Porter, the rookie. 249, Skylar Sintel, another rookie. Ethan Kitchen is on the 105. You might remember that name because Brandon Kitchen raced with us a couple of years ago. And Ryder Reese, the New York rider, is up here in group number 2. Another rookie made his rookie debut last weekend at Lima.
That's a pack of riders right there coming on the back straightaway. Chad Coase is the ringleader of that one. He was waiting. He went up high trying to get everyone to go by him at least, but now he just has them all sitting behind him. So now he's hoping that at least one of them will pass him and he doesn't just drag them all around.
You can see it right there. He's pretty much sat up and drove straight and then turned left for turn 4.
Yeah, and the 450s will ride a bit of a different line than the Twins will just because they typically always try to go towards the bottom of the racetrack.
Oh, now Chad finally pulls out of the way. He does not want to lead. He wants to follow on his first impressions Husqvarna.
You cannot lead and go that fast. So when Chase goes back to the pits, he probably knows, or Taryn or any of those guys, that, hey, I had a good lap where I drafted on the back straightaway, but I didn't get anyone on the front straightaway, where I would have to assume that Tom Drane had a good lap where he got a front and back straightaway draft.
And it looks like Sadoff is tucked in behind the 100 of Walker Porter. And again, Coase is on the very, very, very bottom. The 100 up a line or two in the middle of the corners, making it a little bit more of an arcing turn.
Chad could have a really good lap here if he's able to get by Porter down this front. No, he's not able to do it there. If he was able to get by Porter down the front stretch going into turn 1 there and then Raggio down the back straightaway, that would be what I talked about, where getting a draft on both straightaways gives you an immaculate time.
Yeah, it wasn't good, Colby. His last time by was a 4.0.622, so he must have struggled in 1 to 2.
Yeah, that was when he let them guys go when he got back in the group. But right now,
he sailed in there, went around him. But now he's on the very bottom again.
And you see how uncomfortable he is having to turn that thing twice. Yeah, the track's definitely very tough to ride right now with not having a consistent rubber throughout the whole thing.
And it is very, very hot, which is drying the track out a lot.
Yeah, high UV today, so it's beating down on the racetrack, and it's holding together pretty good so far right through there. You see a couple bumps, but coming off of 4, you see it deteriorating a little bit.
You got sunburned just going out there to do our stand-up. That's how hot it is.
You were out working all week. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But, man, I would jealous of your tan. I'd have to pay a lot for that.
It is definitely a farmer's tan.
But they'd have to spray that.
Right here.
They'd have to spray that on me. That's not
spray paint?
I don't have that color available. Yeah.
This isn't in your
no,
regime?
Melanin's not nearly enough for that.
All right. Where does that come from? Your mom's side or dad's side?
The stork. The stork.
Oh, okay. I got you. Yes. Drane at the top spot, 3.8.025. There goes Chad Coase.
Yeah, it didn't quite work out for him to be able to get drafted by those guys.
He's going to write it down with pen just for you, Brad. The 49 has moved up to 10th right now. You want to borrow my pen?
You're
still using the pencil. You got to get past the pencil.
If you have to explain
you have to get past the pencil.
No, I love the pencil.
You got to roll with the pen.
The problem is it's not neat. I could write it with a Sharpie, anything. Expo.
Doesn't matter. Uh-oh. Special delivery coming towards us. Oh, they even got our names on it. They don't know how to spell your last name.
I can spell my first name right.
All right, Coase gets back in line again.
Well, look at that guy right there. We saw him a lot last year. Absolute breakout ride for him. The 31 of Evan Kelleher.
He almost got a podium last year.
So I rewatched the highlights this morning. You could just see the inexperience of him coming towards the, I mean, I'm not taking anything away because what he did was phenomenal last year as a rookie, but the inexperience coming to the line of him having to learn. Everyone swerved left and he just went straight.
Straight, yeah, exactly. There's Kelleher on the 31. Chad Coase right behind on the 49 bike. Kelleher sitting 13th quick so far. Chad Coase has moved up to 10th as the checkered flag comes out from Big P, our flag man. Ooh, those are nifty.
I forgot about these.
It's like Christmas.
It is like Christmas. Yep. I've been with this company since 2017.
Really? When you won your championship or before you won it? Why are you taking them off?
You want to keep them up?
Yes.
At the year I was winning my championship, I met the guys from Oakley back then in 2017, and very, very nice company to me. Took care of me my entire professional career at the end.
He's not in the air fence, is he? Just slowed down
It looked
over
like
there?
he was in the air fence a little bit.
Uh-oh. That's not good. There goes Steve Moore. I'd probably go check on him.
Yeah, you see the air fence poked out there ever so slightly. We got distracted with our gifts.
Yep.
You see that track breaking apart just ever so slightly right there, but as the night comes on, more moisture coming into it, it'll work its way in.
Almost done with the first round of practice, and we'll have a break. Then we'll have another round of practice and 2 rounds of qualifying before we have our break for the sun. A little bit of a fan party going on from 5 until 7. To get there, you go right down the edge of the front straightaway, come into the pit area, make your way into the pits. Again, that's from 5 o'clock until 7 o'clock here today. After that, we'll have opening ceremonies at 7 p.m. Central Time. We get into our first heat race at looks like about 7:25 here today. Again, getting that rider that went close to the air fence over there in turn number 3 taken care of, and the geese are here.
Yeah, I had a bad experience racing with geese about a month ago now.
In Hastings?
Ohio.
Ohio.
A few of them wandered out where they shouldn't have been.
One of them did not return. Oh, there goes a little fight right there. Did you see him?
Yeah.
He just ran the other one into the water.
Territorial.
Group 3 is rolling onto the racetrack. 46, Reese Podor from Kansas. 87, Landon Smith. Good to see him back at the track. Shorty's up next at 57 of Ian Wolf. 23, Aiden Brown. 42, Lightning McLean Drucker. 72 is Jess Reynolds. 43, Jacob Van de Quay. The 101, that's Caleb Martin. Those are the riders on the racetrack. Group number 3, AFT singles. Try to make a pass for the lead going into 3. Just getting up to speed. Quick time is 3:08.025 by the 59 Yamaha, Tom Drane. Chase Off still second. Terrence Santero is third. Bruner's fourth. And Braden Fanders is fifth. There's Landon Smith. He's been gone doing a little bit of road racing. Good to see him back on the dirt.
Yeah, good to see him back here at DuQuoin and get some more experience. The road racing stuff will help a little bit, especially with the class that he's been riding, the drafting scenarios. He's definitely got a bit more experience drafting than some of these other riders out here.
Talking about the 87 of Landon Smith. He's got company chasing him down right now. Here comes, it looks like the 46, Reese the Beast Podor from Kansas. Landon Smith getting a little bit of body English right there. You see that?
The inconsistency is still in the track. Everyone just trying to get a little bit of dust here and there. Can be hard to ride. Watching the amateurs yesterday, it was interesting to see some of them. There was so coming off of turn 4, there's pretty similar hole there where the dirt broke apart. Not necessarily a hole, but just the soil was breaking apart. There was a groove below it and above it, but some of the kids just, for some reason,
right
every lap, just
yeah.
right through it. It's like, we got to move a little bit, but that can, I guess, bring us into talking about the 44, Brandon Robinson.
He was the Grand Marshal for the entire week. It was the 2025 Roost Systems AMA Amateur Flat Track Grand Championships. Amateur award doesn't need to be in there, but it was basically all amateurs. We raced from Sunday until this morning. They raced their last race this morning at the indoor for the little bikes, the kids.
Yeah, and so with Brandon being there as the Grand Marshal and being such a nice guy and experienced as he is, any single one of these riders could have come up to him at any time and asked him a question, like even about the mile. Like, and I'm sure Brandon, he probably saw some kids doing it and just, hey, I saw you were doing this. I think helping moving up a foot would just save you so much time, and little things like that. So for these riders to have that access to an absolute legend of our sport all week long.
That was pretty cool. He was the Grand Marshal. Of course, the event was sponsored by Roost Systems, who also sponsors Brandon. So they were there in conjunction with each other. Oh, there goes that bump right there. Caleb Martin goes right through it.
Same situations right there. You see the last rider going above it.
We raced Sunday. I left Lima, drove overnight to get there for Sunday morning. We raced on the half mile, was the little bikes and the vet riders on the half mile. Then Monday were the bigger riders, the same riders that raced yesterday on the mile. They raced on the half mile on Monday. We did little bikes on the TT, little bikes and vet riders on the TT. On Tuesday, big bikes on the TT. And then Wednesday, where it gets all a little bit, it gets changed around a little bit. We did a little bit of everything.
Is this 8 days for you, Scotty? 8 in a row?
This is 9.
9.
10 races. This is my 9th day in a row. One of the bikes off the pace. Reese Pottorff on the 46 bike.
I've never seen this many bikes pull off.
His chain is off, so that's at least good for him. It's only his chain and not his motor. So
can you remember a time where this many guys pulled off in the first round?
Not just one session, not one round. No, I don't. So he sees.
Let's hope it's just a first round thing where people are saying. I mean, obviously this situation's.
Well, he thinks the bike is blown up. You can see he's so discouraged right now. But he looks down, he'll see it's just his chain.
Yeah, and it's not. It doesn't look like it's leaking any oil. Because sometimes when your chain come off, it'll grab the clutch sleeve on the inside of the cylinder or inside of the motor there, or it could be a case or something like that. But luckily for him, doesn't look like that's a scenario right now.
I'm writing it down.
I wrote it down. A 38.0.
That's fast.
That's quick.
Very, very fast. Last group, first round of practice. It is your AFT singles class presented by Kicker Performance Audio. They got a booth out in front. We went by there, man. The tunes were blaring earlier. Stop by and see Mad Dog and see what they got going from Kicker Performance Audio. Oh, that last rider right there just pounced off the wall coming off that corner.
Those riders got a lot to deal with right now trying to get through 3 and 4. They're going to have to and it's good because the pits are over there, so all the crew guys will have a good opportunity to see. And that's really not even something that you can tune your bike for. The way that the soil's breaking apart right there. You can do little things here and there, but that is almost something you have to. At Sacramento in the past, what I would do in a situation like that is you almost roll off the gas for a second and then get right back on the gas once you get past it. Because if you hit it on the throttle, it's gonna slip out on you.
Yeah, step out sideways. Looks like that was the 42 McLean Drucker finishing up his first round. Bikes are on their cool down lap. Again, entering and exit the racetrack off of turn number 4. The pits are out over there. You'll be able to go to the pit area just a little bit later on. From 5 o'clock until 7 o'clock is the fan party, the open pit walk for you folks to go over there and meet your favorite riders. So just to do that, go down that front straightaway, go through the gate, make a left-hand turn. They'll take you right into the pits. That was just our first round of practice. Bikes go back to the pit area, make some changes to their motorcycles or hop on their backup motorcycle or whatever they need to do to get ready for their second round of practice out here today. 2 rounds of practice, 2 rounds of qualifying, and then we will have our heat races a little bit later on right after opening ceremonies. 2 heat races in each class, 2 semifinals or last chance qualifiers in each class, a challenge race in the Mission Super Twins class, and then our 2 main events. That is what the rest of the afternoon and evening looks like. It is very warm out here, but they're just getting the track worked in. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, it'll be time for practice round number 2 out here at the Memphis Shades Magic Mile, DuQuoin, Illinois. We'll be back shortly for practice number 2.
The iconic roar of progressive American flat track rumbles into the diamond of dirt tracks. Watch the nation's top riders battle it out on the short track at Lucas Oil Speedway in Wheatland, Missouri, Friday, July 18th. High-energy racing, a scenic campground, world-class facility, and non-stop entertainment for the whole family. Kids 12 and under get in free. Don't miss this inaugural marquee event, Friday, July 18th at Lucas Oil Speedway. Get your tickets now at AmericanFlatTrack.com. Progressive American Flat Track hits Sturgis with a short track doubleheader. For the first time ever, 2 nights of racing under the lights at the legendary Jack Pine Gypsies Motorcycle Club. August 4th and 5th, in the heart of the 85th annual Sturgis Motorcycle Rally. Fireworks, trackside parking, and racing's top pros going all out on the Jack Pine Gypsy short track. Whether you're rally royalty or a first-time fan, you don't want to miss this inaugural event. Get your tickets now at AmericanFlatTrack.com. For over a decade, Dunlop has supported all progressive American flat track classes with their premier flat track tires. Designed for professional and amateur riders alike, Dunlop's DT4 has an aggressive tread pattern, is available in multiple tread compounds, and can be run tubeless for greater overall performance. Dunlop, the official tire of Progressive American Flat Track. Today's Progressive American Flat Track race is being streamed live and on demand on FloRacing, part of the Flow Sports Network. With a FloRacing subscription, you get access to all Flow Sports sites. That's over 25 sports. Never miss a moment. With over 20,000 events per year, in-depth coverage, behind-the-scenes access, original documentaries, highlights, breaking news, and more. Visit FloRacing.com to learn more and sign up today. That's FLORacing.com.
We're going full throttle with Mission Foods. There's no holding back American Flat Track when you combine the fiercest dirt track riders and tastiest products. Fully loaded tacos, fast wraps, piled high nachos. Whatever you crave, Mission will help you be race ready with easy to make recipes that will take your race day to the finish line. Keep your racing delicious and enjoy all the mouth-watering action. Brought to you by Mission Foods. Too fast, too tasty.
Gotta have a lucky charm when you ride, right? Makes you feel safe and protected out there.
That's why I never leave home without a photo of the little ones.
Bracelet from my husband.
Oh. Lucky rabbit's foot.
Lucky rabbit named Swoot. It's Swedish.
That's a whole rabbit.
Named Swoot.
Well, there's really no need for a lucky charm when you ride.
Not when America's #1 motorcycle insurance got your back.
We're just gonna ignore the fact that Carl has a rabbit.
Named Swoot.
Welcome back to the Memphis Shades DuQuoin Mile. 1 round of practice is in the books. It is very toasty out here today. 4 o'clock it's supposed to be 93 degrees. At 5, 93, 6. It's still getting warmer up to 94. So if you're here, drink plenty of fluids. I'm talking about waters and Gatorades and electrolytes and all that good stuff, Colby.
Didn't know meteorologist was on the resume, Scotty.
It is now. We write it down.
You don't even need to see the temperature. You walk outside and it is hot.
Yeah, it's very, very toasty. So it's taking a beating on the motorcycles, it looks like. We haven't been back to the pit area, but we saw a lot of bikes pulling off. And like you said, maybe some of them were pulled off because they weren't geared right. Maybe some are pulled off because they had mechanicals, or maybe some said, hey, let's just wait till later.
Yeah, let's hope for the first one and just hope that they're pulling off to save motorcycle as the gearing's not right or something like that, just the bike's running right. And they don't need 2 full practice sessions. Let's hope that's the scenario, but it is extremely hot, and we knew some bikes were having heating issues last week with how, I mean, it was almost just as hot last week in Lima.
And then also last week, they had the roost coming off of the pea gravel Lima half mile filling up the radiator, so it made those bikes even hotter. So you can see they're putting the moisture down on the racetrack. They got that big, wide spreader that puts the moisture down as thick and as heavy as they can, but you also got to be careful. Don't do that on the groove because that turns the groove into ice.
Yeah, it can. And a little bit of water helps on the groove, especially with how hot the sun is, but it's got to be you have to be so accurate with it.
Well, that is Colby Carlisle, the Flying Tomato, my partner now up here in the booth. And let's check in with Kristen Beat. Kristen is down there roaming around on the victory lane. I think, Kristen, how are you doing?
Check, check. Oh, there we are. Yes. So just a few notes for you, Scotty. A few items I wanted to address that you guys were curious about. I have a few answers to. So first of all, a lot of the riders not only pulling off track to preserve their bikes because it is very hot. The last thing you want to do is overheat your bike early on in the day. the bikes back in the paddock, they had leaf blowers, fans. The riders weren't sitting in front of the fans, the bikes were. So that is one of their concerns. Also, this isn't the track they're going to race on. Spinning laps on this track may not make you a better rider come the night show, because again, the track is going to change so much. Even if you did want to adjust the bike for the daytime, it might not be the same at night, and you're making adjustments potentially in the wrong direction. So they're very conscious of that as well, making strategic adjustments for anticipating what qualifying might be like, but not going too far in the wrong direction. Now, another note, as I saw the water truck, it's a little hot down here, guys. The water truck sort of laying down the water. As soon as the water is put on the track, it just slurped up. It is gone. It is so hot out here. Even though they are adding water to the track, it's really not getting a chance to be absorbed because it is so warm down here. And just here on the front stretch, I'm looking towards the first row, the first start row. You can see where the track is starting to kind of break apart and crumble a little bit. That's not ideal for the riders. And a question for Colby, I'm kind of curious, being aware of the fact there are holes on this track, if that is the case come tonight, let's hope it's not, what will riders be having to tell themselves going into a race like this?
Yeah, that's a great report, Kristen, you had there about the water and the riders preserving the bikes in the track. For as far as telling yourself what you need to do, I kind of touched on it briefly there with the holes. If they do end up racing where those holes are, which I expect a lot of riders to be going up the racetrack, but it's just little mental adjustments because you can't tune your bike perfectly to go over these holes because we're at such a high speed. So it's just little adjustments like, hey, roll off the gas a little bit here, maybe go through the gas a little harder into it, have more speed built up to go across it, roll off for a second, and then get back on it on the other side. But it's the little mental adjustments that really shows the talent of the riders over the bikes at certain parts going through these corners.
Yeah, and I think if you're going to go through the bumps, you know, we watched it yesterday with the amateur riders, and you know, if you go through them directly straight and not crossed up, I think that definitely helps. And I think, you know, we'd rather see the bumps maybe in the middle of the corner or coming off the corner. Going into the corner, those bumps are a little bit scarier.
Yeah, it's tough because that really starts to put a big effect on your front end. And when you hit a bump going into the corner, it'll upset your chassis and the suspension the entire way through the corner. Whereas when you hit it on the exit, yeah, you're already kind of up on the meat of the tire, on the center of the tire coming off the corner, so it's not as big of an effect.
We do have a little bit longer track prep built into our schedule today. That's why we started at 2. We ran one round. We got about a 30-minute break to put the moisture on the racetrack. That's plenty of time to grab something to eat. See my buddies down there with Kicker. Mad Dog's out there. The official merchandise trailer is out there. So there's stuff to do out in front. And remember, a little bit later on, the fan party is right now is scheduled from 5 until 7 p.m. At 7 o'clock, we'll be opening ceremonies. And then we get into the heat race action. So racing technically starts about 7:25 if you're keeping track. And if you're here, you know what's going on. You know what it's all about. And that's where you get to go meet your favorite riders during that fan walk. Again, that's from 5 until 7 o'clock as we continue to put some moisture down here at the Magic Mile. Arguably one of the fastest dirt ovals. It's very differently shaped, and we know when the race cars come here, they go actually faster here than they do up in Springfield, Illinois.
Yeah, depends if you're on 4 or 2 wheels, I guess, for which track is faster.
They say motorcycles go faster at Springfield, but the cars apparently go faster here at DuQuoin.
Which one were you more of a fan of, Springfield or DuQuoin?
You know, I like the different shape here, but I did better up at Springfield. I don't know. It was just a different feeling, different, you know, black dirt. I just love Springfield, but man, DuQuoin was a lot of fun too. I did think I had a lot of fun here in the Super Tracker class here at DuQuoin, and also raced the 883 Harley here.
DuQuoin's fun to ride at nighttime, right? So I touched on it briefly. I don't think that the guys will be riding down here once the sun goes down. It's just you have to ride where the rubber is right now to be able to get good lap times. But when the sun goes down, you go up the racetrack, especially in 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. And at nighttime, it's really fun to ride because you just kind of go wherever you want, and it's pretty consistent around the whole thing.
Yeah, and it's taking rubber quickly in a few spots. Again, the amateur riders were here yesterday. So going into the corner, the amateur riders were running really down low. And then, of course, coming off, they were really low as well. A couple of the riders were going up to, you know, towards the middle of the racetrack near the end of the program. But the fast guys yesterday were mostly around the bottom, maybe one lane up from the very bottom.
And then you'll see, too, the 450 guys always tend to be closer down towards the rail, and that's one of the reasons they'll put the Super Twins out there first, is to try to get the Super Twins to set a fast line around more the middle, the higher part of the racetrack. But it's just the way that the track's going right now. Wherever the motorcycles are going is where the rubber's laying down, and we've got 3 groups of singles, and they're electing to go a little bit lower around the track.
You know, not only is it hot out there in the mid-90s, but it's also very windy. As you can see, the American flag is up there. Happy 4th of July to everybody, and happy birthday to you, sir, sitting beside me. So you're just a day younger than America? Is that how that works out?
I guess so, yeah.
Pretty close?
Like 200-some years, 300 years, or whatever the math is there.
It's 249 for America. So
yeah, 249, so 250 next year, so I'm a little bit younger.
Big celebration next year.
Yeah.
You and America.
That's what I like to think. The fireworks are for the greatest country on earth, but also a little prelude to my birthday.
A little just warm up a birthday eve for Colby Carlisle, the Flying Tomato. So did you watch your motorcycle go out there yesterday? And how come you didn't come help me announce? You said you were you were texting me all week. So I'll be there on Friday. I'll come announce with you on Friday. We'll have a lot of fun. You were at no show, by the way.
Well, there was no fun to be had. I mean, it is awesome to call motorcycle races, but when I got here, the problem was you were 25 feet in the air. I didn't know how to get up there.
You could have just shimmied your way up there. I mean, I could have thrown you a rope or something.
I was fully invested in coming and helping you until I saw the situation. I'm like, that's a true professional's role up there. I am just an analyst.
You know what? The one time I couldn't get the thing started. Luckily, I was on the ground when that happened, but unluckily, too, the first race or a heat race was getting ready to start. So I had like 3 people who run equipment like that for a living. They finally figured it out, and they flipped some switches down below. And I don't know if somebody flipped the switch when I wasn't looking. Or
you were secretly hoping that thing wouldn't fire back. Let's paint the picture here, guys. Scotty, I come in, and Scotty is 25 feet in the air. It's 90 degrees out again yesterday, too. Sun's blaring, no clouds in the sky. Scotty's 25 feet in the air in this cherry lift. He's got a Motion Pro umbrella in his hand. He's holding on to that thing. The wind's blowing it all around. Scotty is just struggling up there, but man, what a true professional to make all the calls all week long and still here today.
Yeah, it was a lot. I think about 163 races. Again, those started on Sunday, the 2025 Roof Systems AMA Flat Track Grand Championships, which is, back in the day we used to call it the Amateur Nationals, but that's the official name. And, big thanks to Roof Systems for coming on board and being the title sponsor of the Flat Track Grand Championships. And they crowned the #1 plates last night for the big classes and the vet classes. And earlier this morning, just a few hours ago, maybe an hour and a half ago, they crowned the #1 plates for the youth riders.
Yeah, I do not. I had good and bad times at amateur nationals, whether it be here or in Springfield. I was never, at that point in my career, I wasn't that fast. I was like hoping to get into the main events. I'd be towards like the 5 through 12 mark. I did well sometimes on the 250s and lower stuff, but I was going up against guys that you're watching today. Davis Fisher, Jared Vanderkoy, me, him, and Jeffrey Lowry were all battling for that coveted Horizon Award.
And the Horizon Award winner will be along later on during opening ceremonies today. Joe Bromley from the American Motorcyclists Association will present the trophy to our Horizon Award winner during opening ceremonies. That will happen a little bit later on. There are 2 people, 2 national number 42s.
Yeah, and they both know how to get around here and around miles, especially the one, Brian Smith, the mile master.
Is that going to start our trivia question time?
I was getting ready. I had one lined up for you, but.
All right. What year did Brian Smith win here?
2014.
Very close.
15.
Yep.
Oh,
gotcha.
I should have known that. My bike blew up first practice.
So here's a fun fact. None of our Super Twins riders have won here before.
None of them. Briar Bauman's been close. Dallas Daniels with a runner-up finish, but
Jared Meese won the last 2 times we're here in 2024 and 2023. You want another one?
Yeah, give me one more.
All right. 3 riders have won here 4 times. Can you name any of them?
I'm going to go Scotty Parker.
That's a safe bet.
I don't think Ricky Graham's probably won here 4 times.
Nope, he's only won here 1 time in 1982.
There's 4 riders?
3 riders have won here 4 times. You've got Scotty Parker. One of my heroes. Rode a Honda.
Ronnie Jones?
Nope. Another factory Honda rider.
Bubba Schobert.
Bubba Schobert is correct. Bubba Schobert won here 1985, 86, 87, and 88. There's one more rider that won here 4 times, and this one caught me off guard, kind of surprised me, but I've had him on my podcast a long time ago, Hank Scott.
Hank Scott.
And Hank Scott was the first rider to ever complete a lap clocking in over 100 miles an hour average. It happened right here in 1978.
All right. All right, so this is one of mine.
All right.
Who got their first ever Grand National win right here at DuQuoin Mile?
There's a couple of them, actually.
Who, the most notorious one?
Ooh. You're challenging me right here.
You're checking cheat sheets.
I am looking through here.
Just so
There's actually two people.
Okay.
I have them wrote down, but yeah, Scotty Parker is the one you're thinking of.
What year?
Ooh. Probably like 1979.
Exactly.
1980.
Bingo.
Okay, Scotty Parker 79. Also, Davey Camlin got his first win here. Let's go down to the pit area. Kristen's roaming around. Kristen, where'd you end up?
Well, guys, it is 9,930 degrees on the surface of the sun. It is 9,931 here at the DuQuoin, Illinois State Fairgrounds. It's rather hot. So in order to protect themselves from overheating, the riders have also taken precautions off the bike. This is a cool vest. It is what Briar Bauman will wear before and after he gets on the bike. It is a vest that has ice pockets in here. So guys, there's ice deep in these pockets. They freeze it, they pop it in the jacket. It'll help them keep cool because it's not just the bikes that they have to be worried about, it's themselves as well. So a little self-preservation out there, but this is the cool vest that Briar Bauman will use this weekend.
Will he let you borrow it for a little while, Kristen?
I am going to try to buy it from him.
All right. It's only 64 degrees in here, and we have our sunglasses on.
It must be nice to be in air conditioning.
Yeah, it's not quite cold enough yet for us to put the jackets on, but it's getting close.
But we do have our Oakleys on, and we're ready for tonight's race. She doesn't even know what to say.
Listen,
that
all I'm going to say is by the end of this weekend, y'all owe me some ice cream. I need a foot massage. This girl has been getting in her steps in this 1,000-degree weather.
We appreciate the corn dogs earlier, Kristen. Thank you so much.
I'm always good for a corn dog.
Absolutely. So. Ice cream soon. It's on the agenda. Look at our brand new Oakleys.
I know. That's what we were touching on earlier. Long-time sponsor of me and the series.
Exactly. I actually rode for Oakley a long time ago. I think man, I don't even know what year. Is it 93, 94, 95, somewhere around there? Before you were born?
Yeah, I never had any of those cool cooling jackets like that. I always would just be a cooling towel around the neck, trying different things like that, drinking, cold water as much as I could. I always drank room temperature water, but on a day like today,
ice cold.
It's ice cold water and ice cold towel constantly around the neck.
Did you have anything inside like when you're riding, or did you take that off and leave it?
No, because those get so hot so fast, so then honestly, you're almost doing a little bit worse.
So it's like an oven?
Yeah, you just try to, constantly switch cool towels and doing as much as you can. That's when it relies on your team to be able to help you, whether it be if you have a girlfriend, wife, your parents, anyone like that. Fiance for me. Yeah. It's a whole team effort on a day like today because it sounds really simple. I mean, just simply going to the cooler and picking out a towel, but it adds energy and just so hot out with all your gear and every little thing. And on a day like today, a mile, it's so mental. So just try to be as calm and cool and get as much help as you can.
How do you cool the bikes down? Like, what are you doing right now to cool your bikes?
Oh, everyone's got leaf blowers going on them. So you'll just put the leaf blower on the ground, hold it wide open, and just let it sit there for probably 2-3 minutes. And everyone's got really good data, especially on those twins, so they can all see how hot the bikes are actually getting.
Did you do anything with your fuel? I know a lot of people keep their fuel either inside an air-conditioned truck or try to keep that fuel cool or keep a reflective thing to keep the sun off the fuel. Did you try anything like that?
Yeah, no, there's definitely people here that are putting their their fuel cans in coolers to try to keep it just a few degrees cooler. Throw it in at the absolute last second.
It burns a little faster and a little bit cleaner if it's not all hot. You look good today.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Happy birthday.
28.
Again? All right. Let's go check in back out on the sun. Kristen Beat, who you caught up with now?
Racing, obviously a priority this weekend, but life also is a part of the racing, right? So you and Jen both announced a couple weeks ago that you are expecting. I'm going to get to be a race auntie to a beautiful little girl that I'm so excited to be an auntie for. But Jared, how has that maybe changed your perspective on racing, changed your mindset going into the weekends knowing you're going to be a daddy?
It's a pretty exciting thing for us in life to kind of be able to, I'm going to say accomplish or whatever. It's just like one of those things of excited for our future. Who knows where racing is in that aspect, but obviously we love this and this is a sport we want to do. And if it leads to us racing next year, if it leads to us staying home, either way, we're going to be happy with our hopefully beautiful and healthy baby daughter.
I'm really happy for you guys. Have already started shopping, picking out clothes, etc. I feel like this is going to be really fun for Auntie. Jen, how are you feeling out here in this temperature? You're obviously expecting, but this is really exciting for you and Jared now.
Very exciting, but I highly recommend do not get pregnant for the summertime. It is not for the weak.
Thanks, I'll take that advice. Thank you, Jen. But yeah, it's super exciting, guys, to see the riders in this series evolve, not only as riders, but also as humans, as parents, and just to kind of see where their careers take them.
And that flat track family is going to continue to grow because Breyer and Shayna Texter-Brauman are also expecting. So again, that family is going to grow. And I hope you're listening, Jennifer, right there. Don't get pregnant during the summer. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, and there's so many stories like that. Even the 67 Davis Fisher, him and McKenna, his fiance getting married here in, I believe it's October. So it's cool to see the racers progress and carry on with these next steps in life.
Yeah, it's just crazy. I mean, I've watched you guys from little kids grow up. This is my 17th year, you know, so I've been watching you guys in the family, the flat track family grows, and you know, some people leave, some new people come in, but it's still all the same flat track family.
And always the same good vibes and personalities with the people.
Absolutely. Don't forget, Back on Track is here. They are selling raffle tickets for the PW50. They are giving that bike away to somebody that is here, or if you win, if you're online, it can be, you know, we'll get it to you somehow, but they are set up on the north side of the grandstands. They have hats and T-shirts on sale too. Anything goes to help out riders that get hurt. They had to use the people. You know, we raised money last weekend for that Australian rider that crashed on the back straightaway at Lima. He was actually here yesterday, getting ready to fly home here real soon. But it was good to see that he's back okay and at a track. And a couple of amateur riders needed some help that went down earlier this week. Jack the Ripper, Jack Brooks, rides for First Impressions. He went down like the first day on the half mile, and he stuck around to learn what he can at the Amateur Nationals. He's ready to go pro. He was actually going for the Horizon Award this year, and unfortunately he suffered an injury. And then little Monty Pedre crashed yesterday, and also a vintage rider crashed coming off of turn number 2. So Back on Track helps get amateur riders, pro riders, and they're also part of Moto America as well, helping road racers get back onto the racetrack, helping out any way they can. And it's all because of the people who donate and buy raffle tickets and stuff like that. So if you see the ladies walking around selling raffle tickets for Back on Track, that is for the brand new Yamaha PW50 is what they're raffling off today. Also, they're announcing the winner of that KTM that you bought raffle tickets for. They started that in Daytona this year. That is going to be raffled off live here today during opening ceremonies.
I know. I've got the ticket numbers ready. I'm hoping my name gets drawn later on tonight, but always a win-win situation with that charity, because you might win a raffle, but you're always helping a rider, helping a family in need.
Yeah, what I like too is sometimes the people that win like a 50-50 will donate it back, or sometimes people that win the prize will actually donate it back to the raffle. So let's go talk to Kristen Beat. Kristen's still on the edge of the sun. Who'd you catch up with now?
I've got Davis Fisher with me, and guys, I don't know if I have experienced this many fans in one pit. I think there's 5 or 6 right here, and if you zoom over here to see, they've even got fans, 2 actually, on the bike right now. Davis, the bike's overheating is a main concern for this team, especially with the conditions outside.
Yeah, we're developing this bike, and this is like our, besides last weekend, the biggest track we've been on, and we're just trying to keep the thing cool, and it just keeps overheating, and it's only quick for like 2 or 3 laps before it starts slowing down. So we're trying a few things, and yeah, hopefully make it through the day.
How is the rider doing with the heat? How are you doing with it?
I'm doing pretty good. Actually, I've been down here for a couple days now, and yeah, we're all right.
Is there any concern going into tonight's racing because of the issues that you guys experienced at Lima with the bike entering limp mode?
Yeah, for sure. Which hopefully it cools down enough tonight that it won't be an issue, but 14 minutes plus 2 laps, it can be an issue for sure. So.
It's a long moto here tonight. This year, though, you guys have been really showing up big time. What do you think the biggest catalyst to your success this year has been?
Yeah, I mean, we started the season on the short tracks, which doesn't get us hot, and the weather, like it was a lot of cool nights, and we didn't think we had an issue until the summer came, and here we are. Yeah, so it has been a good season so far, and we're ready to get back on those short tracks.
We're excited to see you guys back on those short tracks, as well as the TTs coming up here pretty soon, guys.
I'm glad they're staying cool down there. I'm glad they've got plenty of fans because it is warm out there. So everybody stay hydrated. If you're here in the grandstand too, drink plenty of fluids, drink plenty of water. Track is taking a lot of water right now. We did have a long scheduled break to make sure the track gets watered in, and they're packing in with the trucks right now. Up next will be Mission AFT Super Twins, their second round of practice here today. And then we'll bring out the singles one more time for their second round of practice, and then we'll get into qualifying. And qualifying is where we might see some of the strategy already starting, because you want to start on the front row today.
Yeah, qualifying is really important. These first 2 free practices, almost 2 is a lot. And I still expect to see a lot of these guys probably end up pulling off in this free practice. Do a lap, do 2 laps at full speed, check the gearing, check the bike a little bit, see how the track's developing, then pull off to the inside, let the bike cool down. Because, I mean, Davis said it right there. These bikes are just getting too hot. And the riders are getting hot, but you can deal with that a little bit, but if the bike gets too hot, there's not much you can do at this point in time.
At this point, do you start trying bigger radiators? Would you try a fan on the back of the radiator to try to pull more air through there? Or why don't we do such things like that in our sport?
At this point, you know, today there's not much you can do. You kind of made your bed, unfortunately. But hopefully maybe pull the honeycomb off the front of the radiators, just tiny little things like that. But it's just hot.
It's very hot out there. Let's check in once again with Kristen Beat. Kristen's down there in the Rick Ware Racing pit area.
Yeah, Colby, I've actually seen some of the teams pull the honeycomb off. Essence and Racing, Yamaha actually has like a fine fabric over the top of it. It almost looks like fly netting or a screen you use, like a sliding screen. But anyway, here in Chase Sadoff's pit near the 88 bike, a trend that has been catching momentum in the singles paddock is shortening the pipe. You're going to get more top end from the bike when you do that. Now, when I walked over to Chase's bike earlier today, I thought, have they not put the pipe on yet? They didn't have a down pipe. They didn't have an up pipe. Well, they have a very short under the chassis, under the frame pipe. And I was curious. I said, well, is that a concern at any point? Because that seems like a very volatile position to put something of such importance. And they said, well, you know what? It's 154. We don't have a concern at this point. 218, we might have a concern. If we were racing at Peoria, yes, it might be a concern. But for here at DuQuoin, we do not anticipate this to be a concern. And it's going to give us a little more pop and punch on the bike. So we'll see how this pipe plays out and if others start mimicking it, as a lot of these singles teams have been catching on to what Brian Bigelow has been laying down on these bikes.
That is a Coleco pipe down there, very short. I know Bill Biltz used to be really, really short too. Coley used to work for Bill Biltz, used some of the same technology, but I don't think I've seen one quite that short.
No, so we kind of made the trend towards these shorter downpipes back in the 2011, the early 2010 range. They all kind of were long up by the back swing arm early on, and then the Bill Biltz came out with these really short ones, and that's the shortest one I've ever seen. But I remember earlier on in the season, I believe, Kristen, you talked to Bigelow about how the shorter exhaust pipe gives that more top end punch to the bike. And I mean, this is exactly what they got going on here in the mile.
Yeah, they actually had some of them that were actually 3D printed too, getting in
that's
there
one of them.
For Coleco. Yeah, exactly. So,
but that's something that Bigelow brings to the team, just constantly working and dynoing all week long to give Chase Sadoff the package he needs.
There are the flags blowing down there at the start-finish line area. When that track's ready to go, we'll send out our next group of practice. It'll be Mission Super Twins will be up next, and the singles will be right after that. You got to keep the bikes cool. You still got to lay down some quick laps. I know when practice round number 2 comes up next, I think at this point, I think I'm going to try to hop in and get behind somebody, maybe practice some passing.
Yeah, and the way those flags were moving, Scotty, that's a little bit of a headwind down the front straightaway.
So they'll have a tailwind down the back straightaway is what you're saying.
Just little things like that to think about.
There's a look from up above. You can see there's actually looks like a half-mile water track in there, but you'd have a jump right here in turn number 4 if you were on the water track right now.
Yeah, look how long that corner is. You can kind of see it there, almost a little bit of straightaway there earlier on, a little bit before the center of the corner. Just such a long corner and so straight at times.
It's almost like it's kind of egg-shaped, too. It looks like it's very tight, or tighter in 1 and 2 than it is down here in 3 and 4. I guess I've never noticed that before.
Yeah, and 1 and 2 is even more predominant than this corner for having the straightaway. The first time I rode here, it was on a 250F, and it was just mind-blowing. I mean, it was the first time for me on a mile, but I was like, why am I going straight right now?
In the middle of the corners.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember my first time was on a mile was at Springfield, and I think I shut off at the flag stand. I looked up, and I was like, I better grab a handful more. And I was like, just kept going. It's like you think you want to shut off, and then you got to count to like 17 before you shut off.
Yeah, it's a repeating process.
So much further.
Yeah, you let off, then you get back on, and you let off. It's like, oh, my goodness.
And then you hope nobody runs into you from behind. Bikes are rolling onto the racetrack. It is group number 1, second round of practice out here today. Mission AFT Super Twins. The 3 is Briar Bauman on the Harley-Davidson. 32 is Dallas Daniels on the Yamaha. 44, Brandon Robinson on the Harley-Davidson. They're going to come up here and do a little practice start. 67, Davis Fisher on the KTM. 28 is Jared Vandekoy on the KTM. 48, Trent Lowe on the Honda Trans Alp. 19, James Ott on the Yamaha. 18, Maxwell on the Royal Enfield. And 62, Dan Bromley on that Suzuki, the only Suzuki racing here today. I really like the font of his 62, just something different.
Did you have a pretty normal font?
Fairly normal. I think I have one of my plates in the car.
Yeah, because you think about some different fonts like the 62 there, and then the 70 of Declan Benner.
Yes.
He's got a real unique font right now.
I think producer Brad Jones really likes it because it looks like Neil Keane, like almost stick figure-ish kind of, sort of. I'm not going to say cartoonish, but it's just very different. What about your 36s? Like, it was Andrew Butler or it was a Mike Butler wrote it yesterday,
yeah.
but those are good-looking 3s and 6s.
I never once through my career did much input. I just let people do what they wanted. Different graphic companies would make it up, and the 32 of Dallas Daniels wants to get in the thick of it here. He does not want to be out by himself like he was in the first session for a while.
Well, and he jumped up the high line down there at 3 and 4 already.
I think he's just trying to let these guys get a little bit of a head and also probably check the moisture content in the dirt, but he wants to get a lap time with these guys. And although sometimes these guys not on the racetrack with him throughout the races and the main events, he can use them here to try to, use as a draft partner.
Earlier this year, there was a non-national, an RPM race earlier this season, and a lot of our stars came out here and did some testing.
Yeah, Dallas is setting up here. He's going to probably get by one of them coming to the stripe, I would imagine, and then he's probably going to get by both of them here coming to the stripe if he's able to get a good draft. Honestly, he's about to pass Maxwell coming off the corner here, so he's going to be able to grab a draft off the 20 of Vanderkoy going into turn 1. He pulls out. This is going to be the start of a good lap.
So now he's out in front, though, so if Jared Vanderkoy, he got a little bit sideways going in, so Vanderkoy will get right back by, so maybe that good lap just went out the window.
Oh, yeah, that's going out the window, but man, that was a little bit of an incident there going into 1.
But he doesn't seem to bother him. Gets back in line. I should make the draft pass going into 3. The 32 of Dallas Daniels up the inside of Jared Vanderkoy in the 20. It's Yamaha just passing the KTM. The Royal Enfield is right there, the 18, but he blows the groove down here in 3 and 4.
Yeah, Dallas keeps going up the track a little bit, and that's a 790 KTM versus what I would imagine to be a 750 Yamaha. And you've got the availability to go up towards that 800 with these water-cooled engines.
There goes Maxwell making the draft pass going on by. Robinson quickest lap so far, 3:08.365 on the 44 Harley-Davidson. There's Fisher. He's currently second. We just talked to him a minute ago. Kristen did.
Yeah, but the problem is, like he said, the bike slows down towards the end of the session. So how many laps can Davis Fisher do at that 38.4 lap time? But they're catching up to the backside of Brandon Robinson, I believe this group is.
So Robinson, I believe, is out there doing it by himself. There we go back to Fisher on the 67 bike.
Oh, he could get a good lap time if Davis is able to keep that bike running at full speed. But he is a little bit back, and I guess maybe we'll be able to see. It's so hard for us to be able to tell if the bike is slowing down.
Yeah, it's hard to see with our own eyes. We can kind of maybe just watch the stopwatch and see how he's doing on the racetrack. So he's doing a good job out there in that 67 bike. Again, quick time is the 44. Robinson 3:08.365. Fisher second quick so far. Ott is up there in the third spot on the G&G Yamaha on the 19 bike. Daniels on the 32. Trent Lowe's on that 48. Bauman, Vanderkoy, Whale, and Bromley. That's how they run so far. 9 bikes are on the racetrack. There's Fisher on the 67. Just took a look over his shoulder. Want to see where he was running. Actually, looked like he got his left hand right there on that that guardrail, almost touching the guardrail coming off of turn number 4. Fisher did on that 67. Robinson still quick time, 3:08.365 here in our second practice session. Look at all the rubber down here in 1 and 2.
So what's that, Scotty? About 4 laps. Davis Fisher, he makes that very visual cue coming off of turn 4. And it's going to be, so right here what he's doing, so he's coming off of turn 4, his pit crew's there. He's going to wing his elbow up and down, I'm guessing just to show the team that something's not right with the bike. Let's wait for it here, and hits that little bump there, but yeah, he's going to do the wing here and just, so he's just showing his team the bike's not going anymore.
He's got.
Yeah, so that would be the bike going into that limp mode where it's only running. The bike's sensing it's too hot, so the electronics want to conserve the motorcycle.
And that is something comes on the factory KTM is so they don't blow the bike up if it gets too hot, correct?
All of them, and I don't believe it is disableable because they would have done that already dealing with some of this issue last week, and a lot of these motorcycles have that issue, so that's something that we're going to see today.
There goes
Look at Daniels
way up to the high side on here, the 32 bike. Robinson now is working with the 48 of Trent Lowe. Robinson still has quick time. It was early on as the checkered flag comes out from group number 1 of your Mission Super Twins class. Ott still sitting up there third quick, Colby. Second on that last lap.
Good thing you almost didn't write it down.
I didn't write that one down yet. I have pinned.
Yeah, so Brandon Robinson, we saw it last week, and he talked about it a lot. He had so much sprint speed, but in the long run, he was not able to compete with Daniels and Bauman. Cool to see Brandon up front with some good speed right now. I wonder how that's going to progress, and will his motorcycle be affected by this heat?
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. On the cool down lap, do you try to do anything to help cool down the motorcycle, like maybe take it easy, put your legs out wider to get more air?
Yeah, it's too late.
Nothing you can do now, right?
Yeah, just get it back to the pits. Maybe keep it in a high gear so the RPMs are very low. Get it back to the pits and get the air coolers on it.
We used to have to go down the back straightaway and wide open, then pull in the clutch and shut it off so we could get a good plug reading, but we don't do that stuff anymore.
Yeah, that's way before my day too. But so these guys,
Thanks,
one
Colby.
issue that
Appreciate it.
I'm just dodging over that one. But one issue these guys could deal with, and if typically on these miles we don't have a ton of red flags, but if we have a red flag situation and they're going to the hot box, these bikes boil over because they get so hot when you shut them off. They get a little bit warmer almost, so then you need to get those leaf blowers on them instantly.
Now they'll keep them all sitting right over here outside the entrance and exit to the racetrack, so if there is a red flag condition, they'll be ready to put those fans on the radiators, and they shut the bikes off as soon as possible to stop making them hotter. Here comes group number 2.
If I would have known it was going to be this hot, I should have brought, I got this bad to the bone 85cc leaf blower.
Really?
Oh, it'll blow a leaf 150 feet.
Does that make sure your home leaf blowing quicker or what?
I hate blowing leaves, so I bought the most expensive one I could find.
That's hilarious.
Someone forgot about the warm-up lap.
McGrain. He's probably just glad he's out there since he didn't finish that first session. There's the 160 bike, Nick Armstrong out there on his Yamaha. 70, Declan Benner. 54, don't even have him on the list. Michael Enderbitson is out there. He's not even on our list. All right. 37, Bronson Bauman on the Harley-Davidson. 79, Dalton Gauthier. 25, Ben Lau. 91, Justin Jones. 96, Cody Johncox. And they're off. Again, this is a practice start. This is on purpose. There's the pagoda right there in the middle. That's where timing and scoring is. There are transponder loops underneath the racetrack at every track we go to.
There's the 70 of Declan Bender, and I believe that was the 37 of Bronson Bauman, pulled off early in the last one. Let's see if he's able to get through this whole session. The third XG 750 in the field.
Yeah, he just lets up early right there to get back in line. There's the 25, Ben Lau out in front.
Oh, yeah, you see them hitting those bumps, man. They're violent little things. They jar your bike a little bit, and I believe they were kind of rolling off the gas, like I mentioned, just to get through them smoother
and get back in line, right?
Yeah, get back in line. You don't want to lose all that run you have.
Ben Lau out in front, right on the back tires of 14, Logan McGrain. It's a little bit sideways right there. Now gets back in line. Ben Lau down the back straightaway, pulling his freight train. This is a little preview of what we're going to see a little bit later on.
That's a huge freight train right here. This is a dream of mine to be Declan Bender. I mean, I wouldn't, going up the racetrack, like, I mean, these guys are kind of searching. Look at Declan Bender making the most of it. I thought that might have been too high, but this is a really good scenario for Declan Bender, having this many guys. You can pick one off at a time or two off on the straightaway and go right to the top of the board.
He goes in higher down here in 1 and 2 as well, going around Enderbitson on the 54 bike. He's got actually 66 on the back, so that is not the 54. That's actually
Eisenhard must have been a backup bike.
Yeah, it's a backup bike that
didn't get the numbers switched in time.
Yep, so he's got 66 on the back. Okay, I thought I was seeing things here. There goes Bender back to the high side.
He doesn't want to follow. I mean, there's a lot. That's a gaggle of riders right there. And sometimes when you have to draft more than one rider at a time, you can't, because you can't finish the draft. There's another guy sitting there. And Declan said, man, I don't even need the draft. Look at, he's going to get a huge draft right here going into one. If there's no room.
He's already up to third.
There's nowhere for him to go.
He's up to third. He was in 7th just a second ago on the racetrack. He's trying, that high line's coming in for him.
Yeah, so right there he got stuck on that front straightaway with nowhere to go. He is so far up the racetrack. Bronson Bauman taking a look as well, backing out of it.
Down the back straightaway, 25, pulling the freight train. He's on his own Yamaha with help from Rackley Racing. McGrain sneaks a peek on the inside. Eisenhardt slowing down a little bit on the 54 on the number plate, but it's the 66 on his back. Look at all these riders right here.
I like what Declan's doing, trying that. He just has to be able to find a spot to go lower into one to be able to do the draft.
Ben Lau's waving on by.
Yeah,
He's
he
like,
wants
you guys
to get,
go on by. He wants to get back out of the lead.
Me and Ben, we did this at Sacramento in 23. Me and him, we were in the second group in qualifying. We ended up second and third overall.
Really? Just working together?
We started working together.
Did you set it up that way, or just how it worked out?
Yeah, we set it up. We were talking about it previous because it worked out good in free practice and in qualifying. Like we said, yeah, let's do it again.
Did you have hand signals like they just used right there?
No,
or you guys already knew
we
it?
just talked about it and said, hey, you go by me, I'll go by you. And
Bender goes back to the high side, around into the lead, into 3. Here comes the 70 bike, OTB Racing.
Let's see what he's able to do out front all by himself. Now, not going to get the draft. Is he going to elect to keep going high? Man, he had so much speed going high, but potentially just because he had more corner speed than the riders in front of him. Ben Lau taking advantage of those guys getting by him.
Now Bender drops to the bottom of the racetrack. He says, let me try the groove now that I'm out front. Bender on the OTB Racing Yamaha. Brandon Price helped build that bike or get that bike going, and Price told me he might not be done yet. Maybe. We'll see.
That bike is so fast last year, and Price rode it really, really well up towards the front, being in that lead draft battle for the win last year.
And Declan just jumped on it last weekend and ran up to 4th on that second day at Lima.
And a shorter rider, which on these miles pays advantage to be able to get more aerodynamics. So I'm very excited to see what the 70's able to do. He's trying to, Declan, there's no one there,
there's
man.
Nobody
you're gone.
close to you. Yeah, you're way out in front of those guys.
That's funny.
Declan on the 70 bike. Where is he at on the speed charts?
Is he trying to get him to go up the track with him, you guys?
Declan's only up there in that 9th spot.
No draft.
Dalton Gauthier, the 79 bike.
Oh, Armstrong's going to get by him right here.
Okay, they might be able to work together. Dalton Gautier's jumped up into 5th.
There you go. Where's he at on the racetrack? Is he in the back of this group?
I don't see him there.
No, he must be working.
There goes Declan. High, wide, and handsome. McGrain says, let me go up here and check it out.
It's not the fast way around right now. He's having fun.
That's why we all started racing, isn't it? Because it was fun?
Absolutely.
Checkered flag is out. Gaggle of riders across the line. Gauthier
That's
coming.
impressive.
Yeah.
I wonder who he's out there working with.
No, but he just came. He's at the
all
end
by
of
himself.
He's in that group, but he's by himself.
Hats off to him. That shows how good that Racing Unlimited bike's doing out there.
Well, that bike has won the Springfield Mile with
Shayna Texter.
Exactly. Yes, they changed Texter Bauman now.
Smoked them too.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Country Mile? Would you call that a country mile?
That was a country mile. You can say butt whooping. I mean, right?
Oh, maybe the Bronson Bauman and Dalton Gauthier, 2 veterans, work together just a little bit.
It seemed like he's by himself. I don't know. He was laying in some heaters. That was group number 2 of your Mission Super Twins. You didn't even write it down yet. What are you waiting on? Harley Davidson's fastest in first round and second round of practice. 2 different riders. 38.365 for the 44 bike. Brandon Robinson, quick time. James Ott second. Davis Fisher third. Dallas Daniels back there 4th. Dalton Gauthier 5th. Trent Lowe is 6th. Briar Bauman, our points leader, is in 7th as the time switches on over to the singles class. They'll be coming up next, and they're already rolling onto the racetrack. We have 26 AFT singles presented by Kicker Performance Audio riders, and here comes Group 1. Again, they get a little practice start right here.
You're going to see these guys all bound up in turn 1, looking over their shoulders, trying to find who they want to work with after this practice start. Still not super important because it's still free practice, but it's good to get this practice in, especially for some of these younger riders like the 228 of Tadman. You have so much to learn in these first 4 sessions today to be in the running for this win later on.
Again, I talked to him, you asked me a little bit ago, and he's only raced a mile twice. Once on a 250 here a couple years ago, and once on a 450 out there at Sacramento. So you got to learn as fast as you can.
All taking off at the same time. None of them want to be alone out there. Tadman in the back, he's going to have to really burn it off through 1 and 2 here not to ride this session alone.
And maybe he wants to ride this session alone. I don't know. I think I'd want to work with somebody.
Yeah, absolutely. And everyone's kind of going so slow through 1 and 2 here because nobody wants to be the leader. Tadman's going to be able to get hopefully to the back of him. Is that Tom Drane by himself, or is that Rousset? I believe that's Tom Drane. Yeah, Tom Drane's back there by himself with Tadman.
They can work together and catch up to this big pack.
downhill. He's the guy you'd want to be with if you're going to be with anyone out
right
here.
Right behind that 59 bike.
Oh, yeah, and you'll learn a ton because we've seen how good he is on the miles, but that thing is absolutely working, winning both races last weekend, and then so fast, 4 tenths per second faster in practice 1.
Really tell how fast they're going right there at that shot. Yeah, I like the speedy cam.
And Tadman's in there. He's going to be able to run with Tom Drane, hopefully to the back of the rest of this group. They're all in one big pack.
I don't know if I'd want to be in that big of a pack. I guess practice is okay. I think when we get to qualifying, I don't know if I want to run with that many other riders.
Have you ever been in a 4-rider draft, like a 4-piece draft? Where
it's fun.
Oh, my
I don't know if I want to be in
goodness.
a 7 group, is what I'm saying.
I had a 4-piece at a Sacramento Mile. I was down in the dust going into turn 1. I didn't think I was going to get anything woed down, but I must have been going 20 mile an hour faster than the rest of them.
It's an amazing feeling. You can't hardly put it into words.
It's like a snap of a finger. It's like you're going the same speed, then all of a sudden it's like the boosters come on. Yeah. It's crazy. It brings a smile to my face thinking about it now.
You're actually letting off the gas, and you're still going faster.
Oh, yeah. I had that thing so leaned over to try to get it to stop.
Down the back, shoot.
That was fun thinking about that.
You got a big smile on your face.
Oh, yeah.
Sadoff goes back out in front with the 88 bike.
Fander's there in this front group, too. He's got a lot to learn.
I think that's the helmet he won here last year in the 88 bike. That bright blue one. I can't remember the story. You watched it this morning.
There was so much going on.
There was a story about it. I remember
Him and
that.
Cody Cobb. I mean, neck and neck to the line.
Bruner's glad to be back in the mix on the 21.
Up to the top of the board, 38.215.
He's about the 6th motorcycle on the racetrack, but he's fastest on the speed chart. The 59's coming.
Oh, look at him just ripping through the field. Yeah. Tadman wasn't able to hang on to the back of him.
But Tadman's up there 6th quick so far, 39.005.
Yeah, Tom Drane's got this thing going. Watch how quickly he's going to be able to soak up to the back of this front group. I mean, this was the absolute beautiful session. He's going to wish this was qualifying, being able to pick through this field, getting drafts here and there. He's going to be able to probably draft one of these guys down the back straightaway here. He's got a different exhaust pipe on. That's a cut. Yeah, so typically they're running an RP exhaust. Right now they've got something a lot longer than traditional, and this class has all been trending to really short exhaust, but they've got something custom on the back of that Yamaha this weekend for the mile.
Yeah, Kristen and I went over there and checked it out. They have 2 different bikes. One of them, they're both out there pretty long, but one of them is definitely longer than the other one.
Yeah, and they do all their twins exhausts in-house, so I'm wondering if they finally went that way with this, but whatever they're doing, they've got this thing rolling. He's just a smidge slower than free practice 1, but 2 tenths, almost 3 tenths faster than the rest of the field.
Tell me this, the SSN team was in the infield yesterday. His little brother Sam Drane was running up front in a lot of the classes. Tom was here watching. Is that a benefit?
Absolutely a benefit a little bit. You can try different things and see how the track's developing, but I don't even think Sam had that exhaust on his bike.
I don't think so either. It seemed like a lot shorter when it was on his bike.
Yeah, he had the traditional RP that a lot of the field uses.
Somebody just blew the group back there in about the 5th spot on the track.
Tom is on the gas right now, riding phenomenally. Watch this draft. He's about to he was off the gas there going through 1 and 2. That right there is such a strong motorcycle. So he was rolling through 3 and 4 completely off the gas, about half throttle compared to Bruner. He just pulled off the draft. When you're 8, and he's done with it now. He doesn't even need it.
He's not going to show him anything else.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
The boys are in for a challenge today. So when you're able to pull off the draft immediately coming off the corner, pull out and go right by those guys, you have a strong motorcycle. I've had that just a few times in my career, and it makes your job very easy. At that point, it's all about the mental side of it and playing chess, thinking multiple steps ahead.
Getting good starts and then try to keep the leaders right there in, close by. You don't have to be right up there with the lead group, but don't let them get too far out front as they race their way off of the turn before to the checkered flag. They're fanning out just like we'll see during the racing action. Fanders goes up the inside. Fanders up there 4th quick in this practice session.
Yeah. Tom's got a motorcycle today. That thing is working and fast.
He won here 2 years ago. Last year was Chase Sadoff, so both of the 2 winners were out there on the track that last group. Drane's quick lap, 38.215. Sadoff is a 38.495. Cage Tadman, the rookie we were keeping an eye on to the 228, is up there 6th quick. That was group number 1. We had 2 rounds of practice, 2 rounds of qualifying today. Essence and Yamaha Monster Energy Yamaha, the 59. Quick time so far. 2 more groups in our Second round of practice. '24 Hunter Bauer should lead him out. 15 is Justin Anselmi from California. 31 Evan Kelleher got a top 5 here last year. 55 Tyler Raggio. 49 is Chad Coast. 100 Walker Porter. 249 is Skylar Sintel. 105 is Ethan Kitchen. And the 244 is Ryder Reese from New York. Reese used to be number 44B up there from your neck of the woods, Colby.
Yeah, down south a little bit towards the Square Deal Riders, towards Binghamton, New York.
Okay.
Still in the beautiful part, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some people don't realize. I didn't realize that until the first time I went to New York, and I always thought New York was just New York City.
Yeah, there's more. There's a little bit more than the city.
Definitely. There's the west side of New York, between New York City and Buffalo. You know, there's just a lot of pretty countryside.
It's beautiful.
Line it up again. A little practice start right here. They'll send them off. Chad Coast says, "Who's beside me?" Oh, it's that guy. Well, let's go.
Yeah, look at Chad slapping the back fender, telling everyone to get in line with him.
Let's go.
Hopefully he backs out of it a little bit because he already had a gap going into turn 1. Yeah, he does. He moves up the track.
He's goon riding. Look how he's sitting on the motorcycle. He's Chad.
There's a lot of mental thoughts going into this, Scotty. Trying to get lined up where you want to be. Walker Porter not with that front group.
That's all right. He's leading that second group.
Yeah, he's got Raggio there with him. I believe that is Ryder Reese there in that group 2. They got a group of 3. Group of 3 is pretty good because you can get a double draft and you don't have 4. 4 gets a little bit messy at times because you might get hung up.
4 riders out front trying to sneak away. Now Coast coming up the inside, take that top spot. Coast on the 49, Hunter Bauer on the 24.
Chad might run into an issue here of running away from these guys.
And he is right there, just stretching out a little bit. Hunter Bauer better catch back up.
Yeah, Hunter's bike's running good, but Chad almost needed to go out deeper in the field, maybe in that second group of 3, because then at worst you can catch up to the front group. But he's right now, we'll see if Hunter's going to be able to catch him here on the front or back straightaway, and if not, he's going to have to take a slow lap and lose a lap.
Are these guys spinning their rear wheels very much right now?
I would think so, yeah. I don't think the grip level's that crazy high yet.
Tire wear factor in practice and qualifying, they're too short. It shouldn't be, but what about main event time?
Right now you're scuffing in tires for the main event. You probably maybe go out here with a fresh tire and give up the first couple laps, but then put it on for the main event where it's rubbed in a few laps, because you really don't want to go out. You want to go out with a newer tire, but you don't want to go out with still like the nipples on the tire and the fresh glaze on it.
Not a brand new tire, but maybe a fairly new tire.
Yeah. Chad is running away with this, so it's kind of a bike testing session. He's going to have to either go up in 1 and 2 here. Maybe he wants to be out there by himself, but it didn't look like it.
There was 4 riders in that lead group. Now there's only 3.
Chad Coast up to 3rd completely by himself, so not needing the help.
Yeah, there was 4 riders in that top group. Now there's only 3, and Chad Coast is pulling away from Bauer and a Honda right behind him.
Yeah, I believe that's Anselmi's falling off the back of that front group, but Chad Coast really doing a good lap time here, 38.6.
Walker Porter was leading that second group. He's back there 14th, 39.341.
Those guys should have listened when Chad told him to get on the back wheel going into 1.
Signaling them coming onto the front straight. Kelleher's right there on the 31. He's 5th.
Yeah, and Chad's 0.4 of a second faster than Bauer on that first lap time, so he's giving it all he's got.
Here's that second group, and Selby now slipped back to that second group with Raggio on the 55. There's Walker Porter, and also back there the 244. Trying to get up the speed charge. 244 is actually down there in 14th right now. Ryder Reese needs to grab a hold of these riders just ahead of him, make a draft pass.
You saw Walker Porter there through 1 and 2 actually put his foot onto the peg through the center, kind of on that short shoot we were talking about, then had to take his foot back off the peg to turn the motorcycle again. That's the way that the line is with these 450s right now, riding really low on the groove. Might be able to see that this time through here. And he's just got a lot to learn. You see 2 rookies riding together right there with Ryder Reese and Walker Porter. Just so much to learn. The half miles, we raced them all their career. Let's see if Walker does it again here through 1 and 2. So last time he put his foot up right here.
Yep, he did.
He did, yeah.
He went right back down with it. Yeah, it's very hard to see, but there is a short shoot between the corners.
Yeah.
Between 1 and 2 and between 3 and 4.
Yeah, but these guys just have so much to learn between each other. Ryder going for a little draft pass there. They race half miles, TT short tracks their entire amateur career, but these mile racetracks, you only get the opportunity once, maybe twice a year to race as an amateur.
Oh, Reese gets it a little bit sideways. The right foot came off the foot peg for just a second, and he gets it back on.
And look at what happened there as we missed it. Hunter Bauer up to second. A 38.4, that's what we call a draft pass, and Evan Kelleher in there as well. So Chad Coast doing a master class at helping these younger riders get to the front of the pack. And Scotty, I mean, that is what it is. It is all, look how far they left the second group.
Yeah, and Chad Coast has dropped down to 5th because he helped those two riders.
I mean, they're gone. That first group is gone here as we get a replay.
Here's 244. Watch his right foot right here. It's a bump right about there.
It upset on that earlier bump.
There goes the right foot.
So it upset on that earlier bump, and you saw that's when the back end started to kick out and lose traction, and it just multiplied when he hit that second bump. And you never want to see that right foot come off, but these guys, I mean, give a little thumbs up to Chad Coast as you go by Hunter and Evan, because he just helped you immensely get to that front, and that's the veteran mentality of a guy like Chad Coast.
I think Coast was still so far out front. It gave the 24 and the 31 someone to chase after, and then they worked together to see what they could do, and they closed the gap and get up there, actually qualified better than the 49. And I think they'll go back and make some talk, and work together. He's like, "What are you doing over there?"
They're talking about front end push a little bit, going over these bumps maybe.
Yeah. Just friendly conversation.
Yeah,
He's not mad at him,
no, that's friendly, but they need to. I mean, I'm sure before this next session qualifying, they're going to talk about, hey, I want to be with you.
Yeah, let's go out together.
And the vibes are going to be so high when they go in here, seeing that they're 2, 3, and 5 on the board. They're going to know, hey, we can do this. Just because we're in Group 2 doesn't mean we can't fast qualify.
Especially in that second group.
Yeah, exactly.
That's even more impressive.
Yeah, and that's like they know they can do that now. And there's no, I mean, in the third group, if you got a good double draft on both straightaways, you could never have made a main event before and somehow get up into that top qualifying spot.
Here comes group number 3. Again, coming out according to their point standings, Reese Podorf on the 46, Landon Smith 87, Ian Wolf 57, Aiden Brown 23, McLean Drucker the 42, Jess Reynolds the 72, Jared Vandekoy kill switch back there on the 43, and Caleb Martin on the 101, another rookie out there. Pull up to the starting line. Who's going to work with who in this one? We'll see as soon as they take off. They're going to get a little practice start right here and try to get up to speed. And it looked like Landon Smith wanted to go at the back of the pack, and maybe he just wants to see if he can pass a few folks. All right, here they go. Group 3, AFT Singles presented by Kicker Class.
When I would do this, Scotty, I would almost just waste that practice start. Because on the miles, it's easier to know how to get the start. The dirt, you can figure it out pretty quickly. But I would waste it just so I could 1,000% make sure I was with the guys that I would want to be with. Or back in the day with Shayna, I mean, there's a lot of the times working with Shayna, that's a great bet.
That you wanted to work,
yeah,
you want to be with her.
She's got the veteran mentality. She knows how to ride these miles. It's so fast too. And unfortunately, that's probably who I'd be racing with towards the end of the night. But it's so important to be with the guys you want, just like we saw right there with Hunter Bauer, Evan Kelleher, and Chad Coase.
We saw Reese Podorf so disappointed earlier in that first practice session. Looks like he's got it figured out. They got the chain back on the bike. Hopefully that was the only thing that happened, and he's out in front of this one.
Yeah, and speaking of that, I just thought of the 75, Terrence Santero. He did get that time in a 38.786, so a little bit slower than where he was in FP1, but glad to see him back out there.
Even though he's probably on his backup bike for the rest of the day.
And that's not a good feeling to have on the back foot.
Yeah, already
5 laps into the day.
Already on the backup bike. If anything happens that one, you're done for the day.
You're going to be absolutely scrambling.
And he's already used his provisional earlier today earlier this year in the singles class. So Santero's got to get things together. Hunter Bauer's already used his. Jared Lowe, who had mechanical that first one, he's used his.
I like that cheat sheet you got there.
Man, I made this myself.
That's good.
I didn't have a printer with me, so I don't have it completely all the way filled out. Look at that. I even get points right here.
I'm learning. I'm always learning.
Exactly. I like your cheat sheets too, though. I mean, everything's different for everybody.
Yeah, McLean Drucker, this is the second session that he just keeps riding just above the groove, and it's just, there's no grip up there. You're in the dust. We saw that a little bit with Ryder Reese in the last one. Got up there and got extremely loose. And You see him on the tail end of this one, just riding above it, just in the loose stuff. It needs to move down just a little. I mean, it feels cool, but that is not the way. He's getting dropped by the guys in front of him right now. It needs to move down like 2 foot.
It works on the twin. It doesn't work right now as much on the single.
Even then, it's just so, that groove's so dark right now, and there's so much rubber put into it that anywhere else would need moisture down, and it's been a long time since the water truck's been out there.
Kill switch in the lead on the 43 bike.
It's
I
Jacob
like that the way that sounds. 43.
Yeah. How's his font compared to what you had?
Not that close. You know, I haven't actually studied how close the font is on the 43 bike.
These guys doing a good job working together, though. Ian Wolf and Jacob Vanderkoy, very good friends off the racetrack, both from Ohio. Reese Podorf going up the inside here. Gets him to the line.
That was a nice pass right there. That was a good little practice for a little later on. If you have to pass somebody to make a transfer position or for a win, you got to do it before you get to the start-finish line. Podorf leads this group of 3 down the back chute. Vanderkoy in the 2 spot. Short of Ian Wolf right there in that 3rd position. You already writing stuff down?
Yeah, Tom Drane's got my vote from that one.
All right. Good thing you got a pencil.
That was impressive, though, what Hunter Bauer was able to do. Got really close to it. These guys having some fun drafting out here, getting experience. Still in this free practice, qualifying coming up shortly, but
somebody off the pace. Aiden Brown.
Bike's still running.
His bikes are good looking. I like the purple rims.
Looks like something's hanging off the right side, like his radiator. Exactly. Yeah, his radiator come off a little bit.
Oh, his shroud.
I lost a couple bolts.
Yeah, that's definitely like throwing a parachute out there. Good thing that's all it is. You know, if it's still, you know, like you said, the bike's still running, so it's nothing major. He'll be okay.
And save a couple laps on the motor.
And tires.
Tires,
and
gas.
body.
Now he's sitting there cooking on the inside.
I would take
Unzip
the helmet off.
Quickly.
Yeah.
These guys are still going at it up here. All of them downshifting into turn 1. Jacob Vanderkoy to the back of this group now.
Jess Reynolds takes the 72 up to 12th place in this session. How about Jess coming on?
And she put a lot of emphasis into coming to this race.
Yeah, it's a lot. She lost her dad a little over a year ago, and she's out there doing it
by herself too.
Yeah, the hard way.
Yeah,
and she's not even drafted with anybody. Yeah,
she did some campaigns on Facebook and social media, trying to be able to raise some funds to be able to get here to DuQuoin. Made that happen, and doing it by herself the hard way, like you had said, getting down into the tuck really early on. A few more laps, she probably would have caught this lead group.
I think she had a waffle or two to raise some money to get here. Jess Reynolds, the 72, up there 12th quick in this session. And that was the fastest one on the track.
By herself.
In Group 3. Good for her. She's our only female racing right now in American Flat Track. That was AFT Singles round number 2 of practice. We do have 2 rounds of qualifying here this afternoon. Open pit area. The fan party is 5 to 7. There's a fan Q&A session with some riders right there at that stage. That's at 5:30 p.m. So if you don't want to roam around through the pits, we're going to have a few of the riders up there on that stage at 5:30. Ruth is going to bring some of those riders up there, and you folks in the stands can ask the riders some questions. That's at 5:30 p.m. So 2 rounds of practice are in the books. 2 rounds of qualifying coming up next. The fan party, 5 o'clock till 7 o'clock with the Q&A session at 5:30. The water truck is rolling on. Let's check in once again with Kristen Beat. Oh, we threw into Kristen. Here she comes.
Are we going to do that? Okay.
We're live. I thought it was coming in. I'd rather it there than on the mustache.
We wanted to do it on the face.
Oh, it would have taken all day to get that out.
Happy birthday, Colby.
Happy birthday, Colby. Yay.
Kristen, race mom, taking care of me, bringing in a little gift.
28 years old. All right. Vegan cupcakes. Yeah, at least she didn't spit. It is vegan, so at least.
Thank
you.
Happy
birthday.
They said we're throwing it down to Kristen. I didn't know. I didn't know Kristen was surprising stuff.
A lot of people are afraid to eat on camera, so I'm just working through it.
You're just trying it out. I don't know. I've never had anything vegan in my life.
You remember back in 2000 and
I can't remember yesterday.
We were at New York Short Track, and it was my birthday then too. It happened to be, and everyone silly stringed me.
Oh yeah, sprayed
that
it
was
all
crazy,
over.
Yeah,
I got stuck in everything.
Expect that.
Huh? Yeah.
I didn't know I had that many friends then. I might not. Maybe they're shooting me out of aggression.
They didn't like you. No, man, happy birthday, man. It's cool. You got to work on your birthday, but at least you're at a racetrack.
It's not work when you love what you're doing.
There you go. That's awesome. You're not going to finish it on camera?
I'm going to finish it. Not on camera.
Oh, okay.
I'm all right now.
Vegan cupcakes for Colby Carlisle on his birthday. Doing a little track maintenance out here. 2 rounds of practice in the books. We have 2 rounds of qualifying coming up next. I don't know if that stuff's going to pack in there or not. It looks like they're trying to fill it back up and try to pack it back in. But, oh, he did finish. He did finish it. Yeah, speaking of packing it in, your cupcake's gone. Uh-oh, he's going for number 2. Number 2 is going in. I feel like I'm calling the hot dog eating contest that Joey Chestnut.
Smoke that.
Woo!
They don't count.
Yeah, Kristen said they're mini. They don't count for your calories.
No, they don't count.
Your leather's still fit. You don't have to worry about that. Yeah, it's like a tic-tac.
Yeah, it's like an almond. A couple almonds a day is good for the heart, I believe is what they say.
Really? Well, I'm not doing that. I can't eat tree nuts.
You can't eat nuts?
No, not tree nuts. I can
peanuts?
I can eat peanuts, but I can't have tree nuts. I don't know. It's my body. It's just weird. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it, Kristen. She's on the other side of the truck chiming in. Uh-oh, she's taking the headset off now. Here she comes. What? What, Kristen? I don't eat tree nuts, lady.
There's a lot going on in these headphones that people at home.
It is. It's. I wish I could turn them down. I guess
it's just wish me a happy birthday. I guess.
Yeah. Again? Is it your birthday again? Yeah. Colby, you look like you've been out in the sun for like 14 hours. That's how red you got just a second ago.
Yeah.
I was out there all week.
Well, no. Yeah.
I mean, look.
I look so. Stop. I'm as pale as can be.
Stop flexing over here, making me look bad.
Well, that's why I'm eating cupcakes.
Man.
Yeah. Oh, thank you guys so much. I'm so grateful to be here working in this truck with all you great people, and you all take care of me and treat me like a family.
The other side of the truck just said that they all said happy birthday. So the people at home can't hear that. People that are here with us couldn't hear that part. So
there's so much at home that people can't hear.
They are lucky. They're lucky.
Yeah, it's like a pack of hyenas in here once in a while.
a pack of something. All right, man. What are you going to finish that on camera?
Wait, yeah, no. I'm going to shut my mic off and finish this cupcake.
All right. On that note, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, qualifying up next here at the Magic Mile. We'll be back in just a little bit.
over a decade, Dunlop has supported all progressive American flat track classes with their premier flat track tires. Designed for professional and amateur riders alike, Dunlop's DT4 has an aggressive tread pattern, is available in multiple tread compounds, and can be run tubeless for greater overall performance. Dunlop, the official tire of progressive American flat track.
Gotta have a lucky charm when you ride, right? Makes you feel safe and protected out there.
That's why I never leave home without a photo of the little ones.
Bracelet from my husband.
Lucky rabbit's foot.
Lucky rabbit name's foot. It's Swedish.
That's a whole rabbit.
Name's foot.
Well, there's really no need for a lucky charm when you ride.
Not when America's #1 motorcycle insurance got your back.
We're just gonna ignore the fact that Carl has a rabbit.
Name's foot.
Is proud to be the official trophy of American Flat Track. Jostens also produces great commemorative race products for race fans. Please visit us at jostens.com to see all of our commemorative racing products.
The founder of the Rai helmet was the man who created the first motorcycle helmet in Japan to protect his own head, and as a result, launched the Japanese motorcycle helmet industry. Arai focuses on glancing off performance, accumulating small differences decade after decade to further rider protection.
Before the celebration, before the victory lap, before every turn, every jump, and close call, machines and equipment from the Cat Rental Store build the track where the action unfolds. And because your race day means so much to us, we want you to be the first to know what's next. More locations, fresh look, expanded fleet, better coverage. Get ready for the Cat Rental Store's new start.
Welcome back to the Memphis Shades DuQuoin Mile. 2 rounds of practice in the books, 2 rounds of qualifying coming up next. It's a very warm, sunny day out here in southern Illinois. The first mile of the season. I'm Scotty Dubler. Up here in the booth with me is Colby Carlisle. Colby, your first time here in the booth. What do you think so far?
Oh, it's a tough day trying to figure out the bikes, figure out the heat, figure out the track. The track's ever changing, and as the night goes on, it's going to be different each time, right?
Yeah, and the track is taking more rubber. They're putting more moisture down. When that sun sets, again, some of that moisture will come back up, and it should get a little bit faster. Right now, it's slowed down a little bit from that first round to that second round, but in the singles class, only by 0.2 of a second.
Yeah, not as much in the singles class as you would think. The Twins did slow down quite a bit, but early on, Briar Bauman was able to get onto that racetrack where it definitely had a lot of moisture in it, the most moisture we've seen all day.
And the Harley-Davidson's first in practice, but it was Briar in the first practice. It was Brandon Robinson in that second practice.
Yeah, Brandon Robinson, we saw him being able to grab a qualifying session last weekend at Lima, just needs to be able to get that full-length main event speed.
Yeah, he called the shots like Babe Ruth. You know, he told you on Friday night that he was going to win the challenge race on Saturday night, and he did.
He had that $5,000 basically in the bank before we even got to race day.
I mean, if you're that confident, you might as well go out there and do it.
Well, for $5,000, I wish I could just say I could go do it and do it.
Well, yeah, you'd still be racing.
Yeah, I would be, yeah.
So you got everything all buttoned up for the wedding?
I think we're working at it still. We're trying to – it's not even my department, right?
Okay,
I'm
well,
just
Jenna's
I'm
in
here
charge?
today working, yeah. Jenna's in charge of
Well, she's here too.
She is. She's got the day off. We're here
okay.
celebrating my birthday.
So she's
But
not...
I'm here working so we can afford to pay for the wedding.
Oh.
Yeah.
I got you. That's coming up the weekend between Springfield and the Lake Ozark short track. So, yeah, that's not too far off. I mean, are you nervous about it at all?
No, not nervous. It's easy, right?
Is it?
When you got the right person.
All right.
It's kind of like going out for a main event.
Who's performing the wedding?
Raymond.
Raymond Rizzo is?
Yeah, we got Raymond.
I was just wondering.
Yeah, we got Raymond helping out with the wedding. That's cool. It's cool to be able to have that connection from my racing career travel over into, I guess, my life.
Your personal life?
Yeah.
The rest of your life?
The rest of my life. Big day.
There you go. Exactly. So
they say to take in every second because it rips by, right?
Well, you just never know. A few clouds have started to form out here today, which is good. Hopefully cool the track down a little bit. What I'm excited about is in the Super Twins class, none of the riders that are racing today have ever won here at the DuQuoin Mile.
No, none of them have, and I'm excited to see who's going to be able to do that. And is someone going to be able to step up and grab a win in this class this year besides the number 3 and the number 32? Brandon Robinson, very close at Sonoy, led a lot of laps there, unable to seal the deal. And he led some laps at Lima, and he was fastest in that last session. So is Brandon Robinson going to be the guy to grab that, be the third rider in the Twins class this year to be able to grab a win?
Or is somebody else that's never won a Grand National going to step up and win out here on the mile? I mean, you got Trent Lowe in the 48. James Ott, the 19, was second fast in that first session. Maxwell on the 18 Royal Enfield. You just never know.
Yeah, and then you got a guy like Declan Bender hopping on that OTB racing bike that Brandon Price had a ton of success with last year. So that brings confidence to him. A little bit of, I mean, maybe not a pressure, but maybe internally you're like, dang, I know what that bike can do, so there's no reason I can't go do it.
Yeah, I don't think he's taking that as pressure. I think he's taking it and he's running with it.
Yeah,
you know, to finish 4th last weekend at Lima, one of the hardest tracks,
exactly,
that is impressive.
Yeah, and like you said, there's 2 ways you could take it, as a little bit of confidence going into the weekend or pressure. A little bit of both might not hurt either if you can handle that kind of emotion.
How many cupcakes did you have?
I had 2.
All right.
I got a cookie cake back there sitting in the camper for everyone. If you guys are bored after the races, come over to the Micro Mini. Sitting off of turn 4, I've got a cookie cake and some cookies.
Well, so after the races, we're going to have some fun?
Absolutely.
How long are you staying up?
That's disclosed information.
Well, you drove here, so you don't have a flight to catch in the morning. Yeah, exactly. They did put a lot of moisture on the racetrack. They're wheel packing it in right now, and hopefully the track will continue to get faster. I think, when the sun sets or gets behind the grandstands, it's usually when the track starts getting a little bit faster.
Yeah, they got these built-in big brakes today, bigger than normal, just to try to do as much track prep as they can. And we saw some deterioration of soil over there in 3 and 4. And no matter how much work you put into the track throughout the week, it's just sometimes going to happen when you've got a UV index of 10, 94 degrees out, and just motorcycles hit in the same spot over and over because the rubber laid down where it is, and the guys aren't spreading out all over the track, so the same pieces of dirt are taking the beating.
And Declan Benner was one of the few riders to go up above the groove and try a little bit higher line, and is making it work.
Yeah, he was able to do that. It wasn't necessarily the fastest line, but he was able to pass a lot of riders at once because it could have taken him multiple laps to be able to get by those riders just because they were so stacked up going into the corner. For him to be able to capitalize on that and just give him a little bit of confidence, because I would venture to guess later on in the night we're not riding around on this groove, especially in that twins class. So let Declan get some experience up there. And we saw him last year on the Johnny Goad Indian.
Yeah, the Grumpy Old Men racing team. Yeah, he performed very well last year. Last night, that hill right there was packed with cars that came out to celebrate America with the 4th of July. No, I
You didn't do much last week, so you probably had some energy to stay up last night.
I was in bed when the fireworks were going off. I stayed right here at the Fairgrounds Inn all week long, and if I wasn't announcing or drinking hot tea, I was sleeping. So it was a lot.
Well, I'll maybe come help you a little bit more next year.
You said that last year.
Yeah,
I didn't want to hear
no
about
boom
it.
lift.
So yeah, no boom lift for you. So I did add it up. How many races do you think I did this week? I mean, just here at the Amateur Nationals.
Like heat races and
heat
mains?
races, semis, and mains.
We had 6 days, and we're dripping about 13 per day. So that's times 2. That's 26. So I'm gonna guess 230.
Nope.
More?
Nope. Less.
160.
You're pretty close. 154 is how many races I did between heat races, semifinals, and main events. Some of the days only had 7 classes. Some days had 11 classes, but the tree is here. Look, 154 races this week.
That you did?
Yeah, that I did. Yeah, I just talked about them. I didn't ride them, Brad. I mean, I'm still out of shape and old like you. Yeah. What are you doing over here on this side of the truck? He's bored on the other side.
I'm not.
Oh, you wanted a cupcake?
He wants a cupcake. It's vegan.
He wanted a vegan cupcake.
You can't tell me your diet don't allow it.
Hey, at some point, we need to bring up old Will over there running camera in the first turn, but we'll work on that because he had a good week this week. Yeah, we'll have to find some video from him. Yeah.
Will's got 2 more years till I'm allowed.
Oh, yeah, and then you're coming for him.
No, I'm not, but at least I'll say it sounded good in the moment. I have no interest in doing that. As fun as it would be, and it was very exciting to see how happy he was to be able to do it, I am done with that.
You know, he accomplished both of his goals. He wanted to be top 3 in the plus 30 class, and he wanted to make the top 10 in the points in the open heavyweight class, and he did both of those. So for a rider that's only been racing 2 years, Will Harris did an excellent job, and he, in the meantime, between races, he's going back and forth, helping to set up the track over here. He went back and forth, so Will Harris is running the camera right here that we are on right now, and now we switched off of it. But it's time because it's time for qualifying. Mission Super Twins on the racetrack qualifying. Round number 1, this is where the times count. Now, do you go out there and ride with somebody or go by yourself?
There goes Dallas Daniels
by himself.
Dallas Daniels all by himself. In the twins class, you've got a bit more freedom to be able to go out there by yourself because the motorcycles are faster, but it's an absolute advantage to be out there with at least one other guy. 2 really good friends right there, the 20 and the 44, Vanderkooi and Robinson going out there together. You want to find somebody you can trust out there because, one, this is a mile so fast, but also to have somebody you can trust knowing that they're going to help you pull you to the front.
And these 2 guys right here are really, really good friends. Not saying that not saying that the 32 is not friends with anybody, but these 2 are really good friends, and maybe they made a little bit of a deal.
And with the Essenson crew, too, there's a chance that the crew chief or team manager, someone in the organization told Dallas, because there's a chance Dallas did go out there by himself, but 100% they talked about, hey, are you going to go out in the group or go out with a pack? Because that's something you talk about with your crew prior to being on the track.
Would you set the bike up differently if you wanted to go by yourself than with others?
No, I don't think so. I mean,
just a team decision?
Yeah, I mean, it's seriously a tooth on the gearing between being by yourself and being with other people.
Super Twins on the racetrack. Again, this is qualifying round number 1. It's Robinson right here in front of us on the 44 bike. There's no teammates on the racetrack right now. There's no teammates in the Twins class period this year.
No, and teammates really don't do much in this sport. I've never really seen teammates work together that much. I'm not sure if at any point you've seen it.
You know, back when there's a factory Harley team, of course, they would work together. And then actually, way back in the day when there's a claim rule, they'd work together to make sure certain bikes didn't get claimed or did get claimed or whatever.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think that's the team strategy mentality back in the day. But
maybe that guy and his brother, Briar Bauman and Bronson Bauman, they were on the factory Indy, and they may have worked together a little bit. But at the end of the day, it's just almost a single sport, and you have to work with whoever's with you on the racetrack, and hopefully that's someone that's fast. But all of these guys really spread out right now by themselves.
Dallas Daniels at the top spot, 3.7. What is that, Colby?
37.820. So these guys are going. This is the faster than free practice 2. Not as fast as they went in free practice 1. There it is coming up on the screen now.
Look at that.
But James
is in second, 37.964.
Really close, and I know how fast that motorcycle is. That 750 has some get up and go to it.
That is your old ride right there. James Ott, the little team that could, the G&G race team from California.
They spent the whole time out here getting ready to go back to California after tonight. But how about that? The Trent Lowe right there behind James Ott. All of these guys, Scotty, doing this by themselves. Nobody's really drafting, especially we know James and Dallas are by themselves.
We just saw Dallas jumps in behind the 44 Robinson. So he must have let off, let him catch up, and then jumps in behind him. So again, 2 motorcycles usually go faster than 1 if they can work together.
2 fast motorcycles and fast, capable riders always go faster than 1, in my opinion. It's just when you get stuck with someone whose bike's not as fast as you, or they might not have as much corner speed as you, that it could slow you down. But I imagine we're going to see Dallas Daniels' lap time drop here, having a tow from Brandon Robinson. He's probably going to be able to get a draft down this back straightaway and get by him. Unfortunately, the 20 of Vanderkooi was not able to stick with Robinson in this one, but just like that, Dallas Daniels will go by the 44. So we'll see what this lap time is. The track's got 4 or 5 laps into it, so it's a little bit drier than it was.
Not quite as fast as the first session, but a little bit faster than that second session. Here comes the 32, Dallas Daniels leading the 44. Brandon Robinson, Vanderkooi right there trying to keep up. White flag is out. 1 more lap to go in this qualifying session.
Yeah, and a good test for Brandon Robinson here behind Dallas Daniels to be able to see, is my XG750 going to be fast enough to draft Dallas, and can I only do it on the back straightaway? Can I do it on the front straightaway? Which way? But James Ott catching up to the back of Brower Bauman lowers his lap time. He is only 0.02 of a second off the back of Dallas Daniels.
And now he's behind the 3 bike. That might be able to pull him faster. This might be the fast lap for the 19. Here it comes.
The 19's going to get a pull down this front straightaway from the number 3. Hits that bump, gets sideways. He gets 2 sideways off of 4 there. That's not going to be able to do it, I don't think. But he was able to pull away from the 48 at Trent Lowe. Briar Bauman does a good... No, I was completely wrong. James Ott with that.
That's what I thought. He got the toe. He got the toe from the 3 bike.
That was a huge slide off of 4 and able to go P1.
I don't think you don't know it at this moment. Wait till he gets back to the pit area. I'd love to see LJ right now with his cast on.
He's running
being
around
excited.
The pits. Yeah, so look at the bike gets unsettled here, hits that bump. Not too bad yet. Right there, he gets in the loose stuff, hits that bump. You see the rear wheel actually off of the ground there. And then right here, it'll start to step out. He's just above the groove, hits the dust there, really gets stepped out. That's why I thought this lap was, I mean, he is very sideways there, catches that toe from the 3. Even Briar Bauman lowered his lap time on that one as well. So Briar Bauman pulling James Ott around, and hats off to James Ott and that G&G crew giving him a weapon that'll do it.
James Ott, quick time right now in our Mission Super Twins. We have 1 more group to go here in our first round of qualifying. This is Mission Super Twins. That was awesome.
That was fun.
He had one heck of a pull through 1 and 2 and then down the back straightaway, and even recovered after that little bump down there in 3 and 4. And still, quick time by the 19 bike, the G&G Yamaha of James Ott, who is not won yet in this class. This is his first year in the Super Twins class.
Rookie ride. He's battling for that Rookie of the Year champion, you know, the Rookie of the Year award, excuse me. In this class with some other heavyweights, but James Ott doing a phenomenal job, picking up where he left off at a Silver Dollar. We had a really good run there.
Yep, the 48 bike was up there pretty quick, you know, pretty far up towards the front as well. So it's Ott, Dallas Daniels, Briar Bauman, Brandon Robinson, Trent Lowe, your top 5. This is group number 2, first round of qualifying.
Oh, look at this one. We've got the 70 of Declan Benner along with the 79 of Dalton Gauthier going together in this one. So that's going to be able to put some good times down. The 37 of Bronson Bauman a little bit out front by himself.
Looks like a foot peg rubber came off of somebody down the back straightaway. Looks like it's out of the way. No harm, no foul. They'll keep on trucking. Those don't usually slip off unless you fall off.
No, and somebody's going to notice it if it's their left side.
Yeah, because especially your steel shoe would slip off.
Steel on steel.
Speaking of steel shoe, Light Shoe is here all week helping support the Flat Track Grand Championships. Gary Kelly.
I think Dalton's going to be able to put down a good time here with how the track's starting to shape up with a full groove around the whole thing.
And he might be able to get a little bit of a sniff of the draft with the rider in front of him. Looks like Cody Johncox.
Yeah, he'll probably catch him coming down the front straightaway. He's getting closer to the back door. Yeah, down the front stretch next lap, he should be able to either get up next to or get by the 96 with that draft.
And here comes the 70 bike right behind him, Declan Bender. Now he's on the very bottom. I think Declan might go try the high line in a minute, but you know, see, like you said, the fast line seems to be around the bottom right now during the daytime.
Yeah, and all these riders are really fighting coming off of turn 4. They're trying to keep the wheels in line after that last hole. That one a little bit deeper, and it's got dust in it, so it's kicking the back ends out, and you're really getting on the gas there hard to try to get the best run down the front stretch.
Bronson 8, Declan Bender goes to 7th on the 70 bike. Here comes Gauthier, gets the draft pass down the back straightaway, goes by Johncox.
Yeah, we'll be able to see what Dalton's able to do with this one. Declan Bender going with him.
Yes, Johncox slipped a little bit wide down there in 3 and 4. Gauthier is a little bit crossed up coming on to 4 this time by. Gauthier was in 10th.
Bender up to 3rd.
Wow. Gauthier was in 10th. Now everything just changed around a little bit. Yeah, Gauthier stays in the 10th spot. That was his fastest lap last time.
Bender's close too. He's only a 10th and a half off of first. Right here, this is going to be a huge lap for Declan Bender. He's going to get closer coming out on this back straightaway to Gauthier. As long as he can get through corner here, he should be able to draft for the lead over these 2 riders, and this could be a very fast lap time for the 70.
He keeps his wheels in line right here. Gets on the throttle, gets behind the 79 bike. We're talking about the 70, Declan Bender. Closing on the 79, across the line. Ben Lau goes up to 12th.
Declan Benner, P1. Yeah.
Gauthier goes to 3rd.
I knew it, dude. He didn't get quite as big of a draft on the front straightaway, but I believe because the Racing Unlimited Cowie is so fast. But right here, Declan Bender's going to be able to. I mean, man, those bikes are both so fast. We saw how good the OTB bike was last year, Scotty.
Yeah, we sure did. Brandon Price was behind the handlebars last year. Now Declan Bender's taking the seat, and this one might be a fast lap again for the 79 and the 70. They're working, you know, nose to tail. No, they're not passing each other. They're kind of pushing each other, pushing and pulling each other.
Yeah, Dalton took a look over his shoulder there to see who's with him. Declan's still not able to finish the draft. Let's see what the lap times go down to, or if they're able to best them. Not yet. But one thing that I just thought of is the rubber is probably laying down thicker and thicker on the racetrack, so more and more grip is going down, so these tracks getting faster and faster. Dalton's going to be able to potentially get a draft here down the backstretch from Declan. No, he sits in there, probably setting up for this next lap.
Or stay in line to see if you can make the draft pass at the start-finish line. You know, a little testing for later on. This should be a good lap for both the 70 and the 79. They're working together over here off of turn number 4 onto the front straightaway. Bender, Gauthier. Here they come.
Yeah, Dalton might have backed out of that last lap a little bit to set up for this one. Not able to finish the draft into 1 there. Let's see.
Times didn't change, so that lap wasn't any faster than the lap 2 laps ago. Yamaha's 1 and 2. The Dalton Gauthier Kawasaki 3rd, and Yamaha back there in 4th. Maybe not the 2 Yamahas at the top spot we were thinking of.
I had these guys circled, especially the 70. I thought with how good that bike was last year and Declan coming off a strong weekend, but James I knew how fast that 750 was as well. And no, but you're definitely right. Not exactly, you know, we always think of Yamaha, we think of the 32 at Dallas Daniels.
Checkered flag is out. We can write it down. Quick time, the 70 bike.
I guess that's a good thing we didn't write it down.
What? Oh my gosh, here comes Kristen Beat with some.
Oh, wow.
Ice cream. I want cherry. All right. To write it down, the time's disappeared for us.
Declan Bender to the top spot.
Let's go Declan Bender.
Let's go Declan Bender. All right. Declan to 37.756. 37.7. There they are. 37.756. Quick time for Declan Benner. James Ott second. Dalton Gauthier third. Dallas Daniels is fourth. Briar Bauman is fifth. Brandon Robinson sixth. Trent Lowe seventh. Jared Vanderkoy eighth. Bronson Bauman ninth. And Ben Lau in 10th. I think it's going to have to be your birthday at the next one, Kristen, so we can have more ice cream. What do you think? Oh, she doesn't need any more birthdays, but we have to have excuses to have ice cream. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, parties without age going up. How about that?
Yeah, parties without the numbers changing.
Bronson Bauman doing a good run there, getting up to 9th. Strongest showing we've seen out of him. And then Ben Lau being able to come up to 10th.
Thank you, Kristen.
That was
impressive. You're excited. You're excited over here.
Action's getting good.
Exactly. So that was our first round of Mission Super Twins qualifying round number 1. We still have another full round for that class. Singles onto the racetrack right now. Somebody's on the back wheel with their foot off the peg.
That might have been this. Was that the 75 of Santero?
That was an 88.
No, Chase Sadoff.
Sadoff, who won here last year. You know,
he's got the momentum.
He's feeling it.
Oh, everybody sitting behind the 59. They know.
Are you surprised?
Yeah, that can be frustrating a little bit too for the 59 and Tom Drane just knowing that
he's backing off.
He's quarter throttled on the backstretch. This is hilarious.
This is fantastic.
Look at these guys. Oh, it's like LA traffic.
I just got a report that Tadman is now on Dalton Gauthier's bike for this session.
Okay, so trying out something different, maybe something a little bit quicker potentially, but look at these guys just nose to tail.
Nobody wants to go around the 59. Now Chase says, all right, I'll go.
Bruce Evans got to be careful here.
They'll track him down a heartbeat, right?
Well, he hopes. I mean, best case scenario they do. If they don't, then he's in trouble. But yeah, they will. They're going to start pushing each other forward. But you do not want to be out here by yourself. Eventually, somebody has to go, right?
Yep.
You can't waste any laps.
Yeah, exactly. Especially, this is qualifying. If it's practice, I understand it, but it's qualifying.
Oh, that was funny. And Tom wasn't even looking back at him either.
Nope. Bruce Evans doing it for FRA Trust Advisors and ATVs and more just down the street.
Yeah, and Bruce Evans went up the track there because he did not want to be by himself. Hard to find a slot to get in there. He's going to jump in behind the 21 of Bruner. Bruner's in a beautiful spot in this session, being about 6th spot. He's going to be able to potentially pick off a few a lap, but right there we do see 228 of Tadman. Maybe it bike's a little bit quicker potentially, or an issue. We're not sure.
Yeah, I just got a text from Robbie. Bobby said that Tadman went ahead and switched on over, is riding Dalton Gauthier's backup bike again. Dalton riding in the Super Twins class today. And here comes the 228 up the inside.
He's getting a crash course on how to race a mile in the AFT singles class. First lap around 38.415. I'm not sure if I want to count it because it was so much madness there in the first lap, but that is Bruner credited with fastest lap time in the first one.
It looks like that bike's set up a lot taller than Tadman's bike. Dalton's, what, 3-4 inches taller than Tadman.
Dalton's a very tall rider, and I saw the first lap there. You can see how tall and stiff that back end is on that motorcycle, which I think that could play really, really well onto this track and how blue grouped it is. But it's going to take Tadman a few laps to get used to it.
And what you don't know, you don't know. So Tadman, maybe it's just a different bike. Just jump on it and go.
Yeah, exactly. And he'll be used to it. Probably his next time around, the bike will start feeling a little bit more familiar, and he's so young and adaptable.
Fanders will lead the freight train this time off of Forts. Fanders, Santero over the bump. Looks like he almost stood up a little bit to get over that bump. Drane right there third. Drane trying to double, draft up the inside. Ooh.
Yep, saw that top spot right there. Not necessarily faster than his free practice time, but
38.30, but then lets him go. He's just playing with them.
I looked away for a second. Did he let him go, or did he go slip up?
I think he went in too hot, but I think he's okay with that. I think he's sent a heater, and he's like, all right, I'll get back in line, do it again.
Yeah.
This is the Braden Fanders out there, the Hannum's Harley-Davidson sponsored rider, pulling the 75 is Santero.
Tadman, 2 wipes there. I wonder if something's leaking off one of the riders' bikes in front of him. That's very uncharacteristic to ever put your hand up through the corner like that and double wipe.
Well, I wonder where the 59 went. There you go.
Yeah, I don't think Tom did that on purpose. He's way far back now. Yeah, he'll probably be able to catch up to the back of him how fast he's going. But he went way back, Scotty.
Yeah, he went way up the racetrack. I don't think he wanted to be out there showing them the ropes anymore.
And being in the double draft, you have to go down farther than you've been all race, so then you get into the dust. So maybe he just really wanted to be careful there.
I think he just didn't want to show him anymore. He wanted to get back here and pass
He's right
him
there
again.
now. He's going to get a big draft down this front stretch. Hard part is with this is you don't have a lot of room.
Sadoff leads the freight train. Here they come.
Bruner to the top spot with a 38.279. Let's see what anyone's able to do here. Tadman he kind of deals with what I talked about with Drane, where you're down there in the dust. You got to be extra careful down there. But Drane with a 37.7. Chase Sadoff
has a problem.
Yeah, Sadoff bike lets go there.
Yeah, a little bit of smoke.
So maybe that's what Tadman was wiping off earlier.
Possibly.
But Drane down into the 37s. That's the fastest lap time we've seen out at any of these singles. Half of a second faster than Brunner. Oh, I believe Chase Sadoff blew a shock.
Well, that's better than a motor.
Yeah, Chase. So that's what it was. Tadman a couple laps earlier. Yeah.
Checkered flag is out. 3, almost 4 wide across the line, and I did see Drane shift right there, so we were wondering that earlier. So, yeah, that is the 88, and you think it's a blown shock, huh?
Yeah, that's a blown shock. You've seen him jumping up and down. That thing was pogo-y. Definitely better than.
I like it.
Better than losing. Here's a replay.
Watch the 88 right here going in the corner. It looked like that rear wheel and rear tire shiny.
Bouncing up and down a lot. The back wheel bouncing up and down a lot.
Yeah, it's hopping a little bit. Watching that second bike. There it goes. Yep, the fender almost touched the tire right there.
Yeah,
it's just
something broke in that shock, like majorly broke in that shock for it to bounce that much and that much oil to come out of the cartridge and the reservoir.
And he did the smart thing, you know, slowly moved out of the racing line.
I think it was a pogo stick.
Yeah. Tom Drane, quick time so far, 37.7. Trevor Brunner second, 38.27. So almost a half a second between first and second, Colby.
Commandingly too, because we discussed there for a second. Did he go up the track on purpose? Did he not? You thought not. I thought I wasn't sure.
I think so. I think he did want to lead that next lap.
Yeah. What a lap time.
He's flying. That was group number 1. Group number 2 is up next. 24 Hunter Bauer, 15 Anselmi, 31 Kelleher, 55 Raggio, 49 Chad Coast, 100 Walker Porter, 249 Skylar Sintel from Michigan, 105 is Ethan Kitchen. Run the same number, Brandon Kitchen, his brother, ran. 244 is Ryder Reese. Those are bikes in group number 2. I believe they might be checking that racetrack and making sure it's okay.
Yeah, definitely tracking it, see how much oil went down out of that shock. What did the 24, the 49, and the 31 of Kelleher talk about right now? Did they make a plan? Are they going to try to work together? What's the game plan here?
Well, the heat wave is slowing down a little bit. It's going to be 94 at 6 o'clock. Then it's going to drop to 92 and 91. So it's still going to be warm when the sun goes down. Yeah, the sun's slowing down.
Really cooling off.
Yeah, no, I think you know, if I'm Chad Coase, I'm going to go up there and talk to Kelleher and possibly Bauer and see. Let's go up there and work together. It's cooling off. It's cooling off. You might have to find a hoodie here pretty soon. It's almost 91 degrees. It is 94 right now.
High pressure system working its way out. Finally, we're going to cool off a total of 3 degrees coming into the night show.
The sun as it angles towards the west.
It's like instead of 10,000 beads of sweat, it's only 9,500.
Get your sunscreen and put it away.
I didn't put sunscreen on today.
No wonder you're so red.
I know.
Look, look, Chad Coase way at the back. He's not going to play with anybody.
So he's got Ryder Reese there with him. Where's Kelleher's looking back. Kelleher's Hunter Bauer's looking back, waiting. All these guys are waiting with Chad Coase. I'm seriously stopping at this point to make sure that I get with Chad Coase. I am not going to keep this slow roll game. I am getting with Chad Coase or Kelleher. I mean, it's so important to do this, to make sure you're with the guy you want to be with. The rest of your night could depend on this.
Well, and I mean, you do that or you got to do it in the next session. It's either this session or the next session.
Yeah, but you never know, right? I mean, look what just happened to Sadoff. That's a 1 in 1,000 million chance of a shock blowing out. Exactly. We never see that, and anything can happen at any time.
Big P had no idea I was a weatherman, too. He just texted me.
Big P didn't know you were in the WWE as well.
I took him down earlier.
Oh, we need to get a replay of that. There's a chance Scotty doesn't make the night show.
That's right. I haven't told everybody that story yet. There is the 100 Walker Porter, the Alabama Slammer.
Really good performance last weekend. Just starting to kind of learn what it takes to be here in the AFT singles class. And Anselmi, not an issue, probably waiting to catch up with some people.
It looked like he's waving from behind, but there ain't nobody close to you, Justin.
They're coming a mile back.
Here they come.
It's important, and it's hard to do. It's really hard to make adjustments like who you're riding with during the session, because you pull up the track, you're going, say, 60 mile an hour. These dudes are blowing by you 80, 85 mile an hour. Right. So then by the time you try to hop back in, they might be too far gone now.
Late. Yeah, exactly.
And to do it safely, you can't. Kelleher finally trying to get up with these guys, but man, he's going to have a little bit of a mission here. Kelleher, a little less experienced than these other two riders, and he went without the other two slowly, but this is exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, for him to catch these two is going to be very, very difficult.
Still Drane.
Coast up to second.
Wow. Chad jumps up to second. He's back there working with the 24. Where's the 24 at? 17th.
Yeah, and that's the third best lap time of the day right there from Chad Coast. Tom Drane holds down the first two from FP1 and that's this session here.
You know, when I was here last year, the most impressive thing to me was Kelleher, the 31. Last year, he's number 131. He was in the lead group the entire day.
Bauer drops into the 37s right there, riding with Chad Coast. This is working out. Chad Coast drops into the 37s as well, so the track is speeding up, and Bauer and Coast got it figured out. But how about Chad Coast last fall at the Springfield Mile?
Absolutely, just flying.
So,
you know,
I mean,
that's a veteran, I think, you know,
I
a lot of it.
I agree.
Uh-oh, Bauer slips a little bit wide down here in 3 and 4. Chad trying to get through these couple of bumps right. He looks over his shoulder and wants to see where his company is, and
Hunter's going to get a good drive.
Chad kind of pulling out of the way. Maybe he wants the 24 to move.
Yeah, he does.
Yep, he did. He pulled over on purpose to see if he can go slingshot by the 24. So
the first impressions, Husqvarna's running really well today.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but to speak to the veteran thing that you mentioned, you do just learn so much. And even just like these little qualifying tricks, like knowing who to ride with and how to go about it. I mean, it takes years and years to learn that stuff.
And sometimes you don't pit with these guys. You don't pit near the other guys, so you have to go find them and work things out.
It could be someone you don't like, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's like you're both you're helping each other.
Especially in qualifying. Not as important in practice, but of course it is in qualifying. Raggio's doing everything he can to get by the 100 of Walker Porter, and it's just not happening. Raggio is currently 12th. Porter, the 100 bike, currently 11th right now. Santaro's back there in 9th. Vanders was the leader of that last group. He's back there in the 8th position right now.
Yeah, look at this group. These two going faster than one, catching up to this group of 5 of the guys. Go back into 7th. Tad been on Dalton's bike.
There goes the 55. Walker Porter makes a little bobble right there. Raggio could catch up to the Walker Porter, but he couldn't get past him. You know what I'm seeing down here in 4? They're hitting that bump, and they're getting turned sideways. Somebody's going to clip that guardrail on the inside. They're so close to that inside guardrail.
They're back with him now, so let's see if Bauer or Coast is able to take advantage of a potential double or triple draft here, or if they're going to get clogged up, because there's a chance they actually go slower now that they have these guys in front of him.
So hopefully the 31 is learning his lesson right now, because he lost touch with everybody. He's back there by himself, and he's 13th. He's faster than that.
Yeah, this could be a Hunter might get held up here from Walker Porter. Let's see. He was able to get by Ryder Reese down the backstretch. He's going to get a draft here off of Porter, but he's probably going to pull off right off the corner because
too close to him.
Let's see. It's going to be interesting to see what Bauer's able to do here. Chad Coast double draft there across the line. Nothing. I think
38.5.
Yeah, I think Bauer just got held up too much. The pace that they had through the corners was much faster than the other the rookie rider.
My ice cream's melting.
We got one more session, Scotty.
Oh, okay, all right.
Man, how about Jess Reynolds again? That was very good performance out of her.
We'll see what she does.
Oh, yeah, these two talking about each other. They're happy.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Hand signals, you can read what they're saying.
I didn't know that one. Foreign language. Must be new stuff.
Chad Coast language.
These kids.
Chad's not much younger. I think Chad's older than you.
Maybe.
Yeah, he's been doing it a long time.
I'm not going to call age on that one, but some new lingo, some new pit lingo since I've been out of it.
You've been out of it for like 7 races.
13 years.
You've been out of it for 7 races.
13 months. 13 months.
You've only missed 7 races.
No, I missed like 13. I
all right.
Clocked out early.
I'll let it slide. Stop playing with your ice cream over there.
I'm just thinking about it.
I know. Chad Coast, born in 1998. Maybe is that? Hold on,
I can't read 1998.
96,
90.
I can't read anymore. 90.
Oh, you were being nice. You were being nice.
I was trying to make you feel old.
I know my math well, but I'm not going to add that one up. But let's see what happens in this one. Jess Reynolds out there with a pack of riders.
Landon Smith, he went in the back of the pack last time. Now he's leading this group this time. It's Reese Pottorff right behind him. They might have made a little bit of a deal. So Landon Smith will lead him through 3 and 4. Reese Pottorff right behind him.
Aiden Brown out there got his radiator shroud tightened up.
Do you know what? They're listening and watching over there in the Netherlands, over there on the other side of the world.
It's about bedtime there.
They're going to stay up and watch it.
See what kind of adjustments McLean Drucker showed him there briefly for a second. I wonder if he's going to be able to make adjustments and move down the racetrack. We saw him up, and again, they're just up a little bit too high. The fun line, I'm going to call it that.
All right. There's Ian Wolf on the 57 on the back tire of Aiden Brown. These guys grew up over there in the Lawrenceburg area. Ian Wolf maybe more so Ohio, but Aiden Brown's home track is Lawrenceburg, Indiana. Landon Smith from Florida. There's Jess Reynolds leading this next group. Jess Reynolds has Van de Kooi right behind, and there's Kayla Martin on the 101. Another Ohio rider. 450s are flying. There goes McLean Drucker off the groove again down here in 1 and 2. Reese Pottorff uses the draft and gets by the 87 down here going into 3. And here's Jess Reynolds leading Van de Kooi and Kayla Martin.
Yeah, 19th right now.
12th in that practice session. She found something in that one lap and laid down a quick time. Oh, Martin gets it really sideways off of 4.
She's been leading this one by herself in that little group there. She's got Jacob Van de Kooi behind her,
which should be pushing her, helping her.
A little bit, yeah, a little bit of arrogant push from behind, but wouldn't be a bad idea to maybe go down the back straightaway here at 3/4 throttle, allow both riders to get by her.
Oh.
And maybe a little hand signal there. Oh, that's a tight one going in there. Jacob Van der Kooi elects to back out of it wisely as there just wasn't enough room, but
he thought about it.
He did think about it. You got to be careful, though. You know, this draft will suck you in, and I learned that quickly at the Indy Mile, my first rookie time there in the Super Twins class.
Did you go down?
Oh, I tossed. And you remember, you called it. I was a Marshmallow Man in turn 3. I snapped the front end of my bike off.
Stay puft, Marshmallow Man.
Pegram came over to me and he gave me a little father-son rookie talk.
Somebody off the pace over here.
It's Aiden Brown.
It is Aiden Brown. He managed to have a tough time. That's his second mechanical. First one was radiator shroud.
He's out of gas, I think. He is fierce. Dude, I think he forgot to put gas in it.
Well, they had too much other stuff going on.
Oh, man.
That's all right, Aiden. You're okay. It's only one round of practice. You got a whole nother round.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's such a... If that is, I'm not going to fully speculate, but it looks like he opened the gas cap up.
Puts his hand up. He knows something's wrong.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, hopefully it didn't blow up. He is upset.
See, I thought right there he's pointing down at opening the gas cap up to look into it.
I think he is.
Let's hope that's the case, but if that is the case, man, it's one of those things that's completely avoidable, unfortunately.
Right. But it's also something that's fixable.
Well, yeah, it's like 94 degrees too, so it's something that your mind can slip at on a day like today.
I'm sure they're too busy frantically trying to fix the radiator cover.
Yeah, it's just so hot. There's so much going on, and I mean, you know how it is when it gets hot. You're a little bit slower. Everything, you don't want to do as much.
I definitely wasn't talking this fast yesterday.
Hey, we're talking good today because it's about 57 degrees in here.
I got goosebumps in here. Yeah. We're in an undisclosed location underneath the stage. Yeah. Landon Smith pulling this freight train. Ian Wolf has tracked down these two riders. He was back there in third by himself. He's in the middle of this sandwich. Here they come to the checkered flag. 87, 46, and the 57 swinging 3 wide across the line. Unfortunately, they're back there in the 18th, 19th, and 16th position.
I just got a text from one of my buddies, Tim Cottrell, in Phoenix, Arizona. He said it's 108 degrees today.
That's why you left Phoenix.
That is definitely a reason. It is hot there. I'm going back there in 2 weeks.
Oh, for the bachelor party.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, bachelor party. That was the end.
Dry heat.
I don't care how dry, wet, it doesn't matter. It's hot. That was the end of our first round of qualifying, and that was your AFT singles fast time. Tom Drane looks like he is on rails out here today. Ian Wolf right there on the screen, 16th quick. Jess Reynolds, 23rd quick. She was battling back there with Dcoin and the 101. Kayla Martin. Kayla Martin, 17th quick. There it is. Tom Drane on the Yamaha. 37.730. Chad Coase on the Husqvarna. Hunter Bauer, 3rd. Trevor Bruner, 4th. Aiden Roos, 7th, your top 5. Sadoff is 6th, even with that broken rear shock. Cage Tadman hops on Dalton Gautier's motorcycle, goes up to 7th. 8th is Braden Fanders, 9th is Terrence Santero, and the other First Impressions Husqvarna is 10th. That's Evan Renshaw. We're in Southern Illinois, the DuQuoin Magic Mile. First round of qualifying is in the books. One more round to go. Don't forget, grab yourself your raffle tickets for a brand new Yamaha PW50. It is for a good cause. Their tent is on the north side of the grandstands. We'll raffle off a Yamaha PW50 a little bit later on. Here comes the water truck, and it's laying it down thick out here. The sun is out. It's starting to cool off. It's 92 degrees in Southern Illinois. We'll be back to Southern Illinois in just a little bit. Grab something to eat or drink. We'll be right back. Second round of qualifying up next.
Progressive American Flat Track hit Sturgis with a short track doubleheader. For the first time ever, 2 nights of racing under the lights at the legendary Jack Pine Gypsies Motorcycle Club. August 4th and 5th in the heart of the 85th annual Sturgis Motorcycle Rally. Fireworks, trackside parking, and racing's top pros going all out on the Jack Pine Gypsy short track. Whether you're rally royalty or a first-time fan, you don't want to miss this inaugural event. Get your tickets now at AmericanFlatTrack.com. For over a decade, Dunlop has supported all progressive American flat track classes with their premier flat track tires. Designed for professional and amateur riders alike, Dunlop's DT4 has an aggressive tread pattern, is available in multiple tread compounds, and can be run tubeless for greater overall performance. Dunlop, the official tire of progressive American flat track.
Gotta have a lucky charm when you ride, right? Makes you feel safe and protected out there.
That's why I never leave home without a photo of the little ones.
Bracelet from my husband.
Oh, lucky rabbit's foot.
Lucky rabbit name's Foot. It's Swedish.
That's a whole rabbit.
Name's Foot.
Well, there's really no need for a lucky charm when you ride.
Not when America's #1 motorcycle insurance got your back.
We're just gonna ignore the fact that Carl has a rabbit.
Name's Foot.
Off performance, accumulating small differences decade after decade to further rider protection.
Before the celebration, before the victory lap, before every turn, every jump, and close call, machines and equipment from the Cat Rental Store build the track where the action unfolds. And because your race day means so much to us, we want you to be the first to know what's next. More locations, fresh look, expanded fleet, better coverage. Get ready for the Cat Rental Store's new start.
It's Full Throttle with Mission Foods, a proud sponsor of American Flat Track. Mission is ready to fuel your race day with mouth-watering snacks and easy-to-make recipes. Now that's too fast, too tasty.
Welcome back to the Memphis Shades, DuQuoin Mile, Southern Illinois, out here on July the 5th. Hope everybody had a great 4th of July celebration yesterday. And yeah, everybody's looking for some Memphis shade out here. That came from the other side of the truck. I'm not taking credit for that one. That was a dad joke. It's a dad joke. Or
it was a good opportunity.
Or a bad joke.
Yeah, no, it was a good opportunity to get the sponsor plug in.
Same thing. Yeah.
Oh, while we were on that break, I just had a 3-year-old sing me happy birthday. Jet Johnson, son of 2014 AFT singles champion Kyle Johnson.
Sang you happy birthday?
Yeah. Only the first line. We're still working on the rest.
That's all right.
But it was
that's
cool. Oh, it was
so
very
cool.
cute.
Yeah. That's about as far as Brad can sing, too. He forgets the words. Yep. Second round of qualifying coming up in just a moment. They put some more moisture on the racetrack, doing whatever we can to get the moisture down. It is so hot out here. It's been hot this entire week.
It's been exciting.
The whole week?
Oh, for sure. Probably
you
for
just got here.
No, but today, I mean, that first qualifying session, that was very exciting to watch.
You were pumped up.
Seeing some new names. I mean, Declan Benner, it's the first time he's ever been P1. I don't even know if he ever went P1 in singles.
Yeah, you're right. No, he's on it right now. One more round of qualifying for both of our classes, and we'll have a break in the action from 5 until 7 o'clock, roughly. Depending on when we get done with this round, you'll be able to go down there to the pit area. So whenever this second round of qualifying gets done, the pits will be open for the fan party. Go down there, meet your favorite rider. Be sure and stop by that souvenir booth and get your T-shirt, get it autographed. Also, get your back-on-track raffle tickets. Somebody's taking home a brand-new Yamaha PW50. They usually have it without any fuel or oil in it. That way you can put it in your back seat if you didn't drive a truck. You can throw it in your back seat or in your trunk of your car if you want to take it home. But get your raffle tickets. It is for a good cause. It helps people to get injured in our sport, which is flat track motorcycle racing. They also are now helping out Moto America, those folks that race on the pavement.
Yeah, I'm going to get me a raffle ticket. I'm going to do it at every round this year. I'm going to get a raffle ticket.
So you have a 16% chance of winning?
No, the math doesn't quite work like that.
I was just trying to help you out.
I wish 16%, but actually, I hope for like a 0.001% because that means we've had more donations. But I'm going to keep going at it every time because you can't win if you don't play.
I usually go for the Arai helmets because I can always use a helmet, but I don't know what I'd do with the PW50. Maybe give it back, let them raffle it off again.
Re-raffle it back, give it as a gift to a guy like Jared Vanderkoy who's going to be having a baby coming up shortly.
Save it for Colby Carlisle's kid.
My dad
happens.
My dad always used to say somebody's got to win the race, right?
Yep.
So you can't win if you don't play, but somebody's got to win these main events.
Yes. So many people that ride motorcycles, start out on Yamaha PW50s. I unfortunately started before those were around. I started on a Yamaha TY80, a Trials 80. But motocrossers, flat trackers, a PW50, even road racers. I mean, they start them. Sometimes you have trial.
Yeah.
I was going to say sometimes you have training wheels on those bikes, but my dad didn't believe in training wheels. So as soon as I could hold the motorcycle up, they waited until I was ready to decide to ride motorcycles.
Yeah,
when did you start?
We talked about it briefly one time. I had that PW50 for a day, and then my parents just disappeared it on me. I don't know where that thing went, but the bike's coming back to the track now. But it's cool to have. Also, so I had the PW for a day.
You had one for a day.
Yeah. I have a picture of me on it with my sister.
I didn't even know you had a sister.
Yeah, Kayla. It was a fun. Honestly, it might have just been one of those little carousel rides at the grocery store. Put a quarter in. That's the only investment my parents had.
Yeah. All right. Dallas Daniels checks out early. He says, "I'm not going to ride with anybody." Here comes 4 riders battling for the second position on the track.
Yeah. Look at that line right there, Scotty.
I like it.
Do you think Dallas likes to back off and get in this group eventually in this session?
I think he'll keep looking behind him and see where he stands. But if he can stay away from everybody, I think he's going to try to do that.
I was back there talking to G&G Racing for a second, James Ott's team, and LJ said Declan snaked it from us there at the end, but overall, James Ott had a better average lap time.
All right.
So looking at data, some teams checking out some data.
There you go.
LJ gets real excited, man. He loves racing and loves his riders out here.
Man, it's him and his dad, and they stay gone for a long, long time. They are going back to California after this one so he can get his cast taken off and check on his wrist. But
LJ's got more hotel points than anyone else I know.
Or does he use them?
Nice. He's saving them up.
For
He's
what?
them once in a while, like for an expensive hotel like Sturgis or Daytona. But James Ott, same situation as qualifying 1, where he's starting to track down the 3 of Briar Bauman. Bauman not with the group in front of him. Dallas Daniels still all out front by himself. But where are we going to be able to see the 67 of Davis Fisher get that bike through a full session?
I hope so. I hope that thing, they start figuring things out. Brandon Robinson in the top spot in this session, 3:7.893 for the 44 bike. He's out in front. Daniels in second. Vandekoy third. Trent Lowe is fourth. Davis Fisher fifth. No times are showing up for Ott right now. I don't know if he doesn't have a transponder on.
No.
They didn't switch motorcycles, I wouldn't think.
No, I don't think they did switch motorcycles. Let's just leave that one at that, Scotty. Oh, no, he's on the board.
It just now updated. Okay.
37.308. Track's getting faster and faster. I mean, we're almost 0.6 of a second down. So what we were talking about in the singles, Scotty.
Yeah, I know. It's because it's cooled down a whole degree.
Oh,
or 2 degrees.
Yeah,
that's why.
It's not more Dunlop tires getting burnt into that rubber here.
It is getting faster. And they're also adding moisture, which is helping, to help, make it faster as much as they can lay down. It's hard to put water on the groove.
Yeah, and Fisher's going really well in this one, 4th right now. And if he could march up to the backside of Robinson, it'd be a good time.
In that first session, there was a lot of Yamahas. Now it's Harley, Yamaha, Harley, KTM, Yamaha, and Dallas out there front by himself, all the way back in 5th. Did you see him slip the group?
Dallas, he did what he did earlier on, just wait. He wants to get back in line with somebody. It's kind of smart to get some laps out by yourself, see how the bike works by yourself, then see how it works in the draft.
The 19 of Ott is now back there passing back and forth with the 20 of Vandekoy. As Briar's put his head down, he's caught up to the backside of the 67 bike.
Yeah, back there in the pits, James Ott had said that kind of what I'd mentioned a little bit, how going over the bumps, you let off the gas a little bit.
Briar just started putting his hand up, so I don't know if he wants to let somebody go on by or if he's having an issue with that 3 bike, but he put his hand up twice on that front straightaway.
And he's back in it now, but...
You think you just want to get behind somebody?
I don't know. Yeah, maybe, potentially.
He's got quick time, 3:7.186. Putting his hand up, still gets fast time.
Yeah, and there we got Davis Fisher now to the back door. Brandon Robinson. When I was in the pits there for a second, I saw them doing a ton of work. They had about 5 guys working on that 67 machine, so we'll see if this one's going to be able to make it the full length through this session, 6 laps the distance.
And the heat races are 8 laps. The main event's going to be 14 minutes plus 2 laps.
Right now, if nobody's able to do it, we've got 1 lap left. Briar Bauman could potentially be our fast qualifier. He's got so much momentum going right now. This would only boost it.
Yeah, absolutely. And like he's 1 clutch issue away from having a 5-race win streak coming into here. Yeah, I'm not writing anything down just yet, Colby, because we saw 2 fast guys in that second session, the 70 bike of Bender. So and Gautier's out there in the 79 bike too. As the checkered flag comes out, Dallas Daniels punches the 32 back out in front. But Briar Bauman, quick time so far after one more group to go in our Mission Super Twins class.
And I saw the 18 of Max Whale moved up the list a little bit. Davis Fisher is going to end up in 4th in that one, which that's a good run for that team. And maybe just a little bit of a sigh of relief. Not sure if the bike went through the whole thing at full steam there, but the best run we've seen out of him this weekend and last weekend, to be honest.
And what can you do to cool these bikes down back there in the pit area? You said they were changing out coolant. They're the fans on them. I mean,
there's not. I think, Scotty. I mean, I think the littlest you can do is probably just take the honeycomb off and maybe try to jerry rig some things to bring more air into that. I mean, your hands are dealt, unfortunately, and this week was so short, right, between Lima and now.
Yeah, because we raced on Friday and Saturday, and here we go. And up next is group number 2, and group number 2 is featuring that 70 bike of Declan Benner on the OTB Racing, and he had one heck of a week last weekend at Lima Half Mile. Of course, we did the triple on the first day, and on day number 2, Declan Benner he found something on that 70 bike, and he was on rails. He got all the way up to 4th in that main event.
Yeah, passed briefly for 3rd place on Robinson there, who won the Lima Half Mile before, but Declan Benner starting to feel comfortable with the team, and I mean, it was his first race last weekend.
That was just incredible.
So he's only going to get more and more in shape and in form with that bike.
And sometimes it takes a while to get used to a bike and a team. Didn't seem like it did very much for that 70 bike of Declan Benner. He is on the OTB Yamaha. There he is with the 70 bike. 14 is McCrane. 91 is Jones, 25 Ben Lau, 160 Nick Armstrong, 66 is Eisenhart, 96 is John Cox, 37 is Bronson Bauman, and the 79 Dalton Gauthier out there on the Racing Unlimited Kawasaki.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what the circumstances this weekend, but I do know last weekend he had multiple rider coaches there with him, with Mike Luzak. He had Brandon Price, the old team owner, Eric Roush. He had a ton of people in his corner that can give him advice. And look at this lineup right here. The 70 Declan Benner, Dalton Gauthier, Ben Lau, and the 37 of Bronson Bauman.
It looked like they were lollygagging, all trying to get in line down the back straightaway. Now they'll drop the hammer as they get onto the front straightaway.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of lollygagging. We really saw that earlier on in the singles qualifying, but Dalton's leading the pack on this one. Justin Jones almost on the back of this one. He's going to have to really burn it off here to make sure he doesn't lose the backside of Bronson Bauman.
Old pork chop.
Old pork chop. Trying to keep her going.
Dalton Gauthier, that bright green Kawasaki, pulls the Yamaha down the back straightaway. It's Gauthier. Declan Benner on the 70 bike right there behind Gauthier in that 79.
Ben Lau and Bronson Bauman are really going to have to put some real emphasis in getting to the backside of Declan Benner here, because those are the two guys that were the fastest in this session, and almost the fastest overall. I mean, Declan Benner was the fastest, and Dalton Gauthier ended up there in the top as well. So Ben Lau, if he can snake onto the back of these guys, could be huge for him.
Yeah, those two in third and fourth, they don't need to pass each other. Stay in line and kind of push and pull each other down that back straightaway and see if they can catch those two. Gauthier goes up to 8th. Declan Benner back there in 11th. 18 riders here attempting to qualify in our Super Twins class.
Does put a little bit of pressure on this session, knowing that they probably looked down at their phone and saw that Bauman was able to lower the lap time all the way down to a 37.1. So they know that what they did was null and void from the first session. They've got to go out here and figure out how to do it again. And Dalton Gauthier starts to do that with a 37.5.
But he doesn't have really much help from Bender is there, but he's not pushing him or even draft passing him. So Dalton is pretty much doing this on his own.
Yeah, Declan Benner really spun up a little bit there, but we saw that earlier with James Ott still spinning up, being able to go with a good lap time. But that Racing Unlimited Kawasaki, we've seen it in the past with Shayna Texter and some other riders, including Dalton Gauthier. I mean, he's familiar with this motorcycle.
Yeah, I think Corey actually rode that. Corey Texter rode that a time or two as well. That bike knows how to win. How about this in the first practice round or qualifying round, 3.7.75. Right now, Breyer's at a 3.7.18. So Breyer's got the catbird spot. As Gauthier slips a little wide, or maybe he let the 70 bike go by on purpose.
Yeah, he may have let the 70 go by. That's probably something I would try to do, is slip up as little as you can to let him go by. So now this lap's done. I mean, they're not going to be able to pull out a good lap here because of what you did in 1-2, but it's setting you up for this next lap. Maybe try to pass Declan Benner, draft him down this front straightaway.
And that will start the clock at the start-finish line area.
And Ben's doing a good job too, but two things that are really adding up here is Breyer Bauman starting off the day extremely well, where we've seen him early on in some of these days not getting to this point, but how about the Dallas Daniels, the 32? He's going to be 8th as it stands right now.
That's the last bike on the front row of the heat race. Maybe he's trying a different approach this week. He's trying Breyer's approach.
Yeah.
No,
I don't like that.
I'm just kidding around a little bit.
Yeah, no, it's just it's definitely a lot of strategy that goes on with it, right?
And there goes Dalton pulling out. He's done pushing the Kawasaki. He's going to try to get out of the way.
He probably wants one on his own, because maybe getting behind Declan. Declan's a little bit off the pace of where he was earlier on in that set. Did he have some head shake?
Declan had some head shake. I saw down the front straightaway too. So again, maybe Dalton just wants to sit back, get one more look at the racetrack. This is your white flag, last group, last round of qualifying for your Mission Super Twins.
Yeah, so with Dallas Daniels, he elected to do the half-half session. One rider's off. That's Logan Eisenhart. But Dallas elected to do that half session alone in front and half behind. So maybe he, that strategy didn't play out how they wanted it to, being back there in 8th. But he is really looking at that board right now, hoping to not go back to 9th, because like you mentioned, that's back row.
Yeah, of a heat race, not where you want to be. McGrain goes up to 14th on the last lap on the 14 bike. Vandekoy 13th. And again, Eisenhart had put his hand down. He pulls off of this one. 91, Justin Jones currently 18th, so he could not keep up with that lead draft. So unofficially, Breyer Bauman quick time the 3 bike, because he was faster in this session, 3.7.186. The fast time in the first session, 3.7.756. So qualifying is all done for your Mission Super Twins. And there it is. In this session alone, this is not combined. This is round 2. Briar Bauman on the Harley-Davidson, 3.7.186. Ott is second, 3.7.3. So he backs up what he did in that first round. A good qualifying effort, James Ott. Brandon Robinson is third on his Harley-Davidson. Dalton Gauthier, Kawasaki, and Davis Fisher in 5th on the KTM. So, and there you go. Might as well throw Trent Lowe in there on a Honda. So in the top 6 spots, 5 different brands.
Yeah, 5 different brands, and Dallas Daniels going to stay on that front row. But honestly, on a mile track, doesn't really matter. Sometimes at a track like Sacramento or Red Mile, you'll want to be as close as you can to the groove. Here, not nearly as important, excuse me. So Dallas Daniels still sitting in a very good spot, but Briar Bauman starting off the day excellent here on that Harley-Davidson.
Again, if he didn't have that one mechanical issue at Lima, day number 1, he'd be sitting at a 5-race win streak. He is on fire this season.
I believe earlier today you said the all-time record is, did you say 6?
6. That was back in 1993 when Ricky Graham went on a tear. Here they come. Signals back on the track.
All right, how fast are we going on the backstretch this time, Scotty? 25, 30 mile an hour?
Well, Drane's at the very back, so I think they're going to go as fast as they can to try to get away from him.
Yeah, that's not a bad bet. Kind of like a shark in water. Get you going.
Where's the 59 at?
Right there. Yeah. But
the Jaws theme.
The 50 years, 50th anniversary, like last or 2 weekends
of
ago.
Jaws?
Yeah, of Jaws.
It's almost as old as me. Look who's pulling out of the way this time, the 26 of Rusev. He said, where is that 59 guy? I want to ride with him.
Yeah, this is a strong group right here. Last year's winner, the 88, along with Trevor Bruner, one of our championship favorites coming into the season. The 59, man, he's about a quarter of the way. He's about a half a corner behind, but he's probably going to catch up.
Probably
You would have to think.
So we need to change number to 57 for Hines to catch up.
That's good. I'm not that fast with it. I'm not a dad. Yeah, that's more of a dad joke. So maybe that unlocks
Thanks a lot. Appreciate
later
it.
in life.
Later on. You have something to look forward to.
Something to look forward to.
3 of them on the back straightaway. Here comes Tadman up the inside in the 228.
First time him seeing open racetrack. Tadman getting some leading experience here on the mile.
And that feels good. It's confidence. It's a confidence boost to go out here and lead laps. It doesn't matter if it's practice or qualifying. Especially if nobody can pass you to the line. Look how quick he gets tucked in.
He's doing a phenomenal job and a very short-statured rider. I thought it was always so important to get down as quick as you could, get your hand down on the fork as fast as you can coming off the corner. And he's taking a look back there. He doesn't want to run away with it. I don't think he knows the importance of drafting. I'm sure that he's had people in his corner telling him and drilling in the importance of not running away on a single.
Oh, second place has an issue. There goes Renshaw, puts his hand up on the 65 bike.
Yeah, and look at that. The 59, Tom Drane going to the top of the board with a 37.701. That is the new fast time for qualifying here in singles.
It's faster than both practice sessions and now faster than qualifying round number 1. Looks like Renshaw looked like he twisted the throttle one more time, but it is not running. That 65 bike pulls off early. Here comes the 59, maybe working with the 26 of Rusev's. Rusev slides up there to that 7th position.
I haven't seen an exhaust that long since back in the KTM days with, like, I believe Rich King and Chris Carr had some super long exhausts on those KTMs, those early KTMs.
Yours was really long when you ran it over in Lima.
No, it was short.
You made it long. You made it really long.
Yeah, it was about intake port, or exhaust port long. That's a bummer for the 65 Renshaw, because more than likely, this session is already faster than the last one with Chase Sadoff going up with a 37.648 fastest lap time. But look at this guy out front, the 228. Not necessarily the best thing to do for lap time wise, but feels good, like you mentioned.
Yeah, exactly. More for his confidence. And then you got the 88 of Sadoff right there, moves into second by himself, 37.648. That is a Brian Bigelow hand-painted replica helmet. Here's Renshaw running in second. No problem, no problem. He just lets up right there. He puts his hand up, but he doesn't pull in the clutch, so it's not letting go. It might have just shut off.
Yeah, not sure on that one exactly what's going on, but Tom Drane, looking at the board, he's got a 37.334, almost as fast as his time in FP1. Again, just Tom Drane 0.3 of a second faster, showing the dominance here. Wow. And Chase Sadoff, no, Chase Sadoff's going faster, and he's doing it by himself. He may have gotten a sniff of draft there off of Tadman within 1/10 of Tom Drane.
Yeah, he caught Tadman and went on by. Now Tadman's still doing what he can to keep up with the leader. Fanders, Bruner. Yeah, for a rookie to go out here and lead some laps, and now he's just behind Chase Sadoff. I mean, That's really cool in your first season. What is this, his 5th race?
Yeah, it's so important too because, right, whether it was there or not, there's so much pressure for you to win 2 races, and bringing that into Lima, he was still so calm, cool, and collected. But now it's just time to learn, time to gain experience, and get ready for what could be next year, a championship run.
And you know, he ran the 2 California rounds, and I talked to him, and he didn't know if he's going to run any more races. And you know, Roof Systems stepped up, and they're making sure he's at all the races, and now he's on Dalton Gautier's backup bike. That was Rusev was going slow down the back straightaway on the 26 bike. But
yeah, and look at that. Tom Drane was able to get by the majority of that group. Only ones he wasn't able to catch was the early leaders in that one. But these guys, just like last weekend, I don't know what they are going to do with the 59 and Tom Drane, but they are going to have to try to work together.
Are you going to write it down? There's still 2 groups left.
Yeah, I'm going to write that one down.
All right, 59 practice. First 1, practice 2, fastest. Qualifying 1, fastest. Qualifying 2 right now is fastest, 37.334.
It's just it's going to be tough for these guys. They have to. I mean, for Chase Sadoff and the rest of the field, Chad Coase, they're going to have to figure it out. I mean, Chad Coase could be one of the guys to help Chase Sadoff. We saw him doing really well last week in qualifying. Wasn't able to piece it together when it came race time. But they're going to have to figure out some way to get into Tom Drane's flow because he's so fast right now.
And you can't let him check out. You cannot let him break away from the field. You have to, try to work together and keep up with him.
Yeah, and in the singles class on a mile, like a clay mile like this, to break away is very, very difficult. But if you give him a fast enough first lap, he could be gone.
Yeah, they got to work together to try to keep him in his sights. Group number 2 is up next. I'm waiting to see who Chad Coase is going to work with this time. Last session, he went out there and worked with the 24 of Hunter Bauer.
This is the closest that second place has been to Tom Drane all day long. So Brian Bigelow and Chase Sadoff starting to work their way towards the front. Let's see what Chad Coase and Hunter Bauer, 37s in that first qualifying session. Let's see how they line up here. Everyone's going to want to be with that 49 and 24, and the 49 and 24 do not, so they're gonna try to rip away from the field. This is gonna be tough. It's gonna be a little bit frustrating because they've got a whole gang.
Look who's behind. Kelleher drops into the 3rd spot. That's a good move on the 31 spot.
Yeah, there's a good chance that the 49 and 24 might be able to get away from the rest of that pack. Looks like we've got a 4th rider. I believe that's Raggio trying to tag along, but that worked out good for them. They were so what Chad was doing there was he was waiting, and he knew that they were all waiting with him, so he said, all right, let's go.
Yep, he said, come on. And Hunter Bauer uses the draft pass down the back straightaway, goes by and takes that lead away into this corner. Now Raggio gets to buy the 31 bike. The 31 gets right back onto the groove. Raggio actually set out last weekend. His knee was still a little bit twisted up from his crash earlier, I think, Chico. So he elected to sit out Lima. He says, don't use your left leg that much here on a mile. And going to have a little bit of time off before we go to Lake Ozark. I'm sorry, it's not Lake Ozark. It's Lucas Oil next.
Lucas Oil, yeah. We might have messed up writing down Tom Drane because Chad Coase and Hunter Bauer are looking like they're in sync mentally right now with how fast they're going and talking to each other.
Stick behind me.
Really think, I think these two are working together phenomenally. So let's see if Chad Coase, he had a draft down the front straightaway and down this back stretch, so he's going to have a really good lap time here as long as he's able to do 4.
Couple of rookies we just had on the screen was the 100 Walker Porter, the 244 Ryder Reese. But how about these singles? Their times are almost as fast as our Super Twins here today.
Yeah, track's speeding up every lap they go around this place. The blue groove's getting deeper and deeper. Chad Coase first time around with a 38.0. He broke away a little bit through 3 and 4 there from Hunter Bauer, so he's going to need Hunter Bauer to catch back up to the back wheel, and they've got Kelleher involved with this too.
And there looks like they've kind of broken away from the 55 just a little bit. Raggio needs to put his head down, catch back up to these 3. Yeah, if we combine the times between singles and twins, Drane would be sitting P3.
That's impressive, and he had some big drafts out there, and I mean, honestly, when you get a double or triple draft, you could probably consider that to be just as fast as a twin motorcycle.
Kelleher goes up to 5th on the 31 bike. He's the 3rd one in line. Now it looks like the line order is switched up there at the front, but Kelleher, fastest on the track right now. Here comes the 31 bike, 2nd on the racetrack, chasing the 49 Coase with 6 quick in this session.
Yeah, Coase was able to go a little bit faster, but unfortunately he is all by himself right now. Kelleher taking a look over the shoulder, making sure Bauer's still there, but Coase just too far out in front. Almost sacrifice a lap here. Give this one up, get behind the rest of these guys and do it best on the last one.
And Bauer goes up. Chad Coase pulls off. He's going to get back in line. He needs some help. Says, let's get back here and give me something to draft with. No, he missed. He missed out, though. He's lost track of him.
Yeah.
He'll be by himself now.
I'd probably back off the gas and go all the way back to the next one.
I think it's too late. I think he's in trouble. I think he's not going to have anybody to draft with. Here comes the 105. Kitchen just swung up the inside of that rider. I don't know who that was in the back straightaway. Made a drastic move by the 105.
We talked about how hard it is to do that properly, Scotty, to be able to jump out and jump back in. But Chad Coast has so much speed that he actually might be able to catch up to the back of him. I believe we're going to have maybe 2 laps left this time by.
That's a good thing. It's a little bit longer session. Yeah, the white flag's now up, so at least 2 laps to go. There's Kitchen. Kitchen made the swing out pass on the 244 Ryder Reese, and he's got a older brother, Brandon Kitchen, that stopped racing a couple of years ago, was very fast on the miles as well. Same number, 105.
This is working out well for the 49 and Chad Coast. He is on the back door now of Raggio.
I didn't think there's any way he's going to catch him.
I didn't think so too, but he is working it, so this is working out well. I believe we're going to be maybe the white flag this time.
You're a psychic.
No, I'm not. I've only missed it for 13 months, so maybe I still know something. But yeah, Chad Coast has to make hay while the sun shines. Look at that. Man, he burnt that thing off up to third basically by himself that time.
And catching a little bit of help at that start-finish line, but not much. So he's on the back tire of these guys. I think it's slowing down. He's going to be able to make a pass. Raggio's tracked down these top 2. Here they come. They're going 3 wide into 3.
Oh, if Chad could have got that would have been a burner.
Well, he's still on the back tire. This could work out good, too, because he might be able to draft the 31 on the front straightaway.
He's going to get by 31 coming to the checkered.
Yeah, the 49 is on fire here today. Chad Coast, the California kid. Leader slips a little bit wide. I don't think Chad will be able to have any draft on this one to the start-finish line. This could be a good lap for the 49. He still stays in that 3rd spot in this 2nd round. That was his fastest lap. Or no, the last lap was a 38.567. Yeah, I got held up down there in 3 and 4, but it was going to be a heater. So
he had to check up a lot going into 3 there.
So our pin mark is still good right now. That was group number 2. One more group to go of qualifying. We're still going to do our Q&A session at 5:30 in just about 18 minutes on the stage. Ruth will be down there. We got the riders going to be down there. Brandon Robinson, Maxwell, Declan Benner, also in the singles class, Renshaw, Santero, and Bauer. Again, that's at 5:30 today on the stage. The pits will open up as soon as we are done with practice and qualifying, and they will close at 7 o'clock as we get ready for opening ceremonies. So one more group to go, then they'll open up the pit area. You can go down the front straightaway, the pavement right here to the left of the grandstands, and then make your way into the pit area.
Hunter Bauer having a really good run so far today, 4th overall in qualifying.
The Canadian rider.
Following up a really good performance earlier on this year at Silver Dollar. We misspoke a little bit there, but he got that podium at New York a few years back.
Yeah, we both missed on that one. Slipped by the cracks on that one.
Slipped by.
Last group on the racetrack, practicing qualifying. Here they come, getting up to full speed. Everybody trying to figure out who they're going to work with. Reese Potter was definitely looking for somebody over his shoulder, maybe Ian Wolf.
Aiden Brown's got that thing potentially back going, or a different motorcycle.
Hopefully it was just gas that he needed.
I'm hoping so.
And the radio strap, both
I saw him
tight.
pushing it back when I was going out to eat my popsicle. Look at him going for a big double draft right there, going into 3.
There's Jess Reynolds leading this group right here.
It's a good group. It's a good-sized group. If Aiden Brown can catch up to the back of them, the 5-rider train, and see what they're able to do.
Jess Reynolds, Ian Wolf. Caleb Martin on the 101 trying to get back by the 23. Way out in front, Landon Smith says, I'm not working with any of you guys. I'll see you in the main event. See you in the heat race. Jess Reynolds. Now Jacob Vanderquay gets by Wolf going into 1.
Yeah, that's a tough decision for Landon Smith. I mean, he's a straightaway ahead of the rest of the field, so it's going to feel good being out there, and you're really going to be able to have your bike dialed in for racing alone. But right now, he's currently sitting back there in 22nd position, so it's going to be tough for him to be able to move way up the charts by himself.
Vanderquay just goes by Jess Reynolds going into turn number 3. Will lead him off of 4 onto the front straightaway. Jess right there trying to repay the favor on the 72 bike. And she does make the pass at the line. So Jess Reynolds looks really racy here today.
Yeah, Jess Reynolds looking really good, executing the lines well, and the bike's looking strong.
Reynolds, Vanderquay, Wolf, Reese Podorf.
Oh, wow, a little head shake out of the rider there in the back. Might have been Caleb. Caleb Martin potentially. Yeah, that is Caleb Martin dealing with a head shake going off there into 3.
Aiden Brown has caught up to the back tire of Reese Podorf on that 46 bike.
Those guys, everyone out there, Jess Reynolds and those guys as well, fighting through 4, trying to get through those bumps.
Yeah, try to keep your wheels in line when you're on the throttle, I think, as best you can.
Like we said, James Ott talked about it a little bit. Just roll out of the gas, get through the bump, and then roll right back into it, because as soon as you hit that, your back end comes off the ground, and when your tire lands, it's just going to go sideways. It's going to spin up.
So Landon Smith still cruising around out front by himself. 23rd quick, though, out of 26 bikes.
Yeah, and that's just showing how being out front's not working out right now. His best lap time in this session is a 39.1, where his best lap time in qualifying 1 was a 38.9.
Aiden Brown, the 23, just about touches the inside guardrail right there in turn number 4, but he was the fastest on the racetrack, who, has a couple issues so far. The radiator shroud was coming off in the first one, possibly ran out of gas in the second one, and now he's got it going.
Yeah, and that group of 4 right there is 15, 16, 17, and 18 in the charts. They're all going way up the racetrack faster and faster, so they're working together well.
Watch how low the 23 comes off this corner, though, right here. He was so close, it looked like he almost touched his hand on the guardrail right there.
Yeah,
it's so close, man.
Have you ever hit a guardrail?
Yeah. I think more so with the handlebars, not necessarily my finger.
I don't think I ever did. I've been darn close before, but I don't think I've ever touched it.
Back in the day, Sacramento had one on the inside. I got a picture. It looks like my handlebar is on the other side of the guardrail somehow. It's an optical illusion, but man, it's crazy.
You're just that good.
I'm not that good.
Otherwise, you'd still be doing it?
Exactly. I'd be out there racing Charlie Roberts.
Oh, I'm glad you're in here with me. Yeah, I'd rather have you in here.
Me too. It's nice and cool in here. I mean, it's hot. It's really hot in here.
Aiden's hand is so close to that guardrail now that you've mentioned it.
Exactly. White flag is out from Big PR Flagman. Took him down earlier.
I remember a story, Willie McCoy.
Oh, yeah.
Smacked his hand. Springfield was bleeding on Chris Carr's shield.
That was back in the Live Eye Sports Day. Me and Brad Jones, whenever Willie McCoy hit the guardrail. Brad, you remember that? And Larry Myers was interviewing him, and he was, it was a red flag, and there was blood on the shield of the rider behind him. Yeah. I don't know if he won that day or not.
No, I don't think he won that day.
I think it was a little bit later on.
He didn't win until maybe 2010, 2011.
Yeah, it was awesome seeing Willie McCoy win at the Springfield Mile. And then he left there and came back and won it again. And on the back of the trailer, they already had a 2-time Springfield Mile winner before he pulled out of the fairgrounds.
Must have been hanging out with Brandon Robinson.
Checkered flag is out. Reese Podorf, the fastest on the racetrack, and that one goes up there to the 17th spot. Of course, now gets updated to 17th. Jess Reynolds, 18th. Again, they got to combine the times, and we'll get those to you in just a little bit. But that was round number 2, last round of qualifying. Again, the track is going to be, the pits are going to be open in just a moment. Also, the rider Q&A session is happening on the stage at 5:30, so about 12 minutes. Drane, quick time. Chase Sadoff, Chad Coase, Braden Fander. So the top 4 different brands. Again, this is just the second round. Drane's going to be hard to beat today. He is flying on the Essence and Yamaha. Sadoff is second, Coase is third. Fander, Santero, Kelleher, Trevor Bruner, Hunter Bauer, the Canadian, up there in 8th. Gage Tadman, 9th. Aiden Bruce Evans is in 10th. I did hear that they got a watch party going on up in Canada. Todd, the announcer up there, has got a bunch of friends together. They're doing a little watch party up there. So thanks for tuning in and watching us on FloRacing. We know they're watching in the Netherlands, also down in Brazil. They're watching everywhere. American Flat Track right here in DuQuoin, the first mile of the season. All right, so again, the pits are open right now until 7 o'clock. Opening ceremonies are at 7 o'clock. So if you're here, head on down to the pits if you want to, or stick around for the Q&A session on the stage with 6 of our AFT riders. For you folks at home, we're going to watch last year's race and possibly the year before that. We got about an hour and a half break. At 7 o'clock, we come back with our opening ceremonies. Have fun on the fan party. Have fun with the Q&A session. Grab your raffle tickets for Back on Track. We'll be back at 7 for opening ceremonies.